All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for another day of the SEA DPC, the lower division to be precise, and it is MLP Dota and John X5 joining you once again. John, we are waiting right now because there are some lobby issues going on, but how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Mike. You know, it's a lovely day. I had a great lunch, and we've got a lovely matchup that should be coming up soon. SMG up against MG.Trust. Now, a little bit of history behind these teams, Mike. They both played in the open qualifiers. In Open Qualifier number 1, MG.Trust was the team that actually 2-0'd SMG out of it. So there's maybe a bit of a grudge match here because SMG almost barely made it, right? Through Open Qualifiers number 2, there was some issues with another team, and SMG slides up. They have been looking good here in the lower div so far, both teams going 2-0 in their matchup, so should be fairly close. But again, historically, in the one match they've played against each other, MG.Trust did manage to take that out. So we'll have to see what kind of teams come out today. Of course, we saw MG.Trust yesterday in a different tournament, and it was a lot more back and forth than you and I would have expected. Like, MG.Trust are simply kind of branded as the favorites. They looked really good before their disband. They've got most of the party back together, and their performance yesterday in the Oceanic League Fall Invitational was mixed. Like, there were some issues coming out there, and they didn't manage to actually clean it in the way that we'd expect. So we'll see if MG.Trust kind of shake that off, come out stronger. Of course, SMG is a tough nut to crack. Nea 666 on mid has really been popping off. Like, he's one of those young, talented players that a lot of people are looking at now. Sort of the same as we've seen people look at Savage before, or Abid before, or even In Your Dream before. So he's got a lot of promise. I'm curious to see if Motivate will kind of target that mid-hero pool. We've mainly been seeing Nea on Storm and Ember, and I really think that Ember is actually one of the more busted mids right now. Like, I was just thinking about it, the itemization, I always mention it, right? Like Phase Boots, Wraith Band, Orb of Corrosion, compared to Storm, which is like Boots into Bottle into Orchid, and the Orchid just feels like it takes a bit too long to farm compared to the Ember's timings. And I looked at these stats, Mike. Ember Spirit has like a 67% win rate or something, so that feeling seems to be grounded in some reality.
Yeah, I mean, the hero does feel a lot better. I think the meta just suits it a lot more. Like, it likes to fight. The team fights have been going longer as well, don't forget, right? So, whereas maybe the last patch you could have said the team fights were a bit more compact, a bit shorter, I think for a hero like Ember, in a longer team fight where he could just kite around and make more sleight of fists happen, definitely kind of favors the hero a lot more. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for those lobby issues to be resolved, but it looks like it should be rather soon. They are trying to restart the lobby and see if that'll fix the problem. Unfortunately, it does seem like Twitch wants to be a little bit rude today, John, and only give me the option for 1080p, so my apologies. Unfortunately, we don't have any power over that. I mean, I've set it out for all the options, but, you know, servers can be a bit finicky. I guess we could try to restart the stream, considering the game hasn't started, and see if that'll fix anything, but generally speaking, in the past times I've done that, it doesn't change anything, so might be completely pointless.
Yeah, I think if you're having issues with Twitch, like you can't stream out 1080, you could try the YouTube on its Primal Roar on YouTube. It should be live right now there. And you could try our Facebooks as well. Facebook has the option to go through all the way down to 140p, I believe. So go give those options a try. But of course, if you want to stay on Twitch for chat, you can just leave the chat open. That'd be nice. And hopefully you guys are having fun as well there in chat.
I feel like we should give the link to people that...
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I'll just go casually post the link in the Twitch chat now, so at least people that are struggling to watch on Twitch can. You have an avenue. You have Twitter. Excuse me, not Twitter. You have Facebook as well, and YouTube. So either way, if you wanted to watch, plenty of options. But yeah, I'll throw it in the Twitch chat. Hopefully people will see it. Apart from that, John, anything else going on while we're waiting for this lobby?
Not too much. Let's see. I think we got some insights into Ohio at the very least the last time we had an interview with him. He did say that, you know, he really enjoys playing against SMG, and I think a lot of teams are putting a target on the back of SMG, right? Like, they've got mid one, they've got Mushi, they've got the upstart Nea. So outside of MG.Trust, it's also SMG that everyone has their eyes on. That just makes this matchup a lot more explosive. I think both sides have something to prove. MTG wants to show that they 2-0'd before, they want to 2-0 again, and of course SMG will want to show off that there has been improvements, and there really has been for their side. Like, going in from the open qualifiers, I was expecting a little bit less from SMG, frankly, but they have been showing up. They have been given enough time to even work themselves more cohesively as a team, and hopefully that just keeps building up and we see even more improvements down the line.
Absolutely. While we're still waiting for the panel, I apologize, John. I'm updating the banners underneath the Twitch so people can see the actual YouTube channel they should go to if they wanted to watch there instead of me just linking it every time. I'll be a moment. The players are rejoining the lobby, by the way, so it shouldn't be much longer. If you wanted to tune in.
Yeah.
Anything else going on, John?
What else has there been? Oh yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about the matchups we saw for MG.Trust yesterday, and I just keep going back to that moment where Jackie jumps out on an unexpected cliff on the Radiant Jungle. If you haven't seen that, so that cliff ward has a little outcropping that doesn't connect to any other of the high ground. So it's literally just a weird trolley cliff next to the cliff that's all the way up. And it was ridiculous. That was actually a game-losing spot. And it wasn't like MG.Trust knew the cliff was there. Like, from the viewpoint, from the top-down view of the game, you can't actually see that it's just isolated. Because there's a little tree, a trolley tree there, and it looks like it blends into the forest. So, yeah, that was just super strange. I don't know. It's so funny how these map changes have been working out. It feels really awkward. I was watching some of our supports try to double stack. Sometimes they miss out in one of the camps. It's just these small changes that teams are trying to get accustomed to, and the map just feels really different. I think it's one of the biggest shakeups in this patch, really. It's just the narrower lanes, the different camp layouts, and different pull timings just make it a lot more interesting for supports, I think.
Absolutely. With that, we are having the draft underway now, so I can finally switch over and we can see what's going on. So, Team SMG versus MG.Trust Gaming. This should be a pretty interesting matchup. I know you've talked about it a lot already, but both teams, I'm sure, definitely want to try and get a victory in this series, as these two teams are being looked at as favorites going into this. I mean, MG.Trust for sure, looking to be very, very popular to make it to the upper side of this group stage and maybe the upper division. SMG, they've been looking very good too. In terms of the games we've watched so far through the lower division, they have been looking very, very strong and very entertaining as well, John, I might add. They do get the draft started with a Magnus pickup. Where did that come from?
I mean, they pick it up early. I'm surprised because Beastmaster's left in the pool. And SMG had first pick. They go for the Magnus instead. So we'll see if MG.Trust gets something like the Beastmaster here. It's left there. I don't think I've seen them play, but it has also been consistently banned. So we'll see if that's something MG.Trust wants to try. With a Magnus in the pool, this could also be a really good Rubik game if you want to just steal some spells. Instead, they go with the Abaddon here and straight into the Lion. So they've got that strong combo of supports, one hard dispel, one saving support to play with, and one support with really good control. SMG, though, have the Jug Mag combo. So they've got the Empower to play with to buff up the Jug's early farming. Can really help out with the Omni Slash as well. You could maybe bypass the Battle Fury, but most cores still go for it, even with the Magnus. It's looking really strong for the openers. It's just a question of, where does SMG run the Magnus? Is this the KP hero? Is this the Nea hero mid? Is it perhaps like a Mushi or Afu's hero on the support roles? It's somewhat open, but it's also a bit of a question mark there.
It certainly is, John. I mean, this hero is very flexible, and when you are playing it with the Jug, you've basically got one job. And that's just empower the Jug over and over again. Make sure he's got that empower, and your carry won't rage at you after the game for not empowering enough. So it could be run as a support. We've seen a lot of, we did used to see a lot of Pos 4 Magnus way back in the day. And I think you can still run it, quite frankly. Most Pos 4s these days do just rush Blink after boots, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see it being run as a support. I wouldn't be shocked to see it run as a core. I think either way it is still a viable pickup here from SMG, especially when it's with the Jug. And that is also a mid-1 Jug we're going to be watching here, which is very exciting to boot, John. I'd say that's one of the specialties of mid-1, and I always enjoy watching his Jug whenever it does pop out.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a couple of times now from SMG. He plays it really well. Plays with the aggression on the Blade Fear early on in lane very nicely, as long as he has a really good lane partner to kind of build off of that. So it's strong comfort picks for SMG with the Jug and the Mag, just making it simpler for the Jug. Really curious to see what else SMG builds on top of that. Again, I want to know if Nea is going to go for Ember. It looks like a really strong Ember game. I mean, you have to worry about Lion, and of course the hard Dispel on the Abaddon, just saving anyone who's chained up. But you've got natural Empower with Ember. You get even more value with your Magnus pick. It might feel a bit greedy with Magnus on the off lane or on the support role though. But if you're looking for that strong Nea here, I think the Ember is much more preferable here over a Storm just because you have Magnus.
No, fair enough. Well, Team SMG, they're going to take a bit more time to think about this last ban out before we get to see some more picks coming through, but they'll get rid of the Faceless Void. Fair enough. The Jug does not enjoy that whatsoever. Ember has been left as MG.Trust go into the Bristleback of all things, which I believe we have seen them playing this a little bit, giving it over to Masaros, and it's the classic Masaros kind of offlane, right? Just a really tanky offlaner. He's going to frontline. He's going to be very annoying towards the enemy. Is the Bristleback good right now? I don't know. It's kind of hit or miss, this hero.
Yeah, I think we've seen it do really well if it does get a really massive start. We've also seen it fall flat if the game drags on too late. Like, it can survive for a long time, but the team needs to be able to play around that survivability, and the opposing team can always just ignore the Bristle in this case. You've got natural Silver Edge Carrier in the Magnus. You have seen Mag kind of opt for that down the line. SMG to take out the Undying, so they've got some pretty strong area control now. Maybe not area control, but area denial with the Undying. They've got the Tombstone drop. They've got Decay on top of RP. That could be really potent. If you get a big RP on top, you can just drop them low super quick. And of course, the sustain from Undying is very nice as well. So it's building up for SMG. MG.Trust do go into the Storm for Fearless.
You gotta choose
100%.
Ember. You gotta choose Ember here if you're Team SMG, surely. I mean, you've got the Empower. Great pick against the Storm. I don't think it does too badly up against Lion Abaddon either. I mean, we see Embers all the time just popping Borrowed Time with Sleight of Fist, and it can be quite annoying for an Abaddon to just lose his Borrowed Time like that, especially when you are playing support Abaddon. Just a matter of whether Nea feels like it's going to be a good game for him to play the Ember.
Yeah.
Still think it might be a pretty nice one, but it is going to kind of lock you in with 4 melee heroes as well. I'm not sure how much that's going to matter, but it can feel a little bit awkward not having a range hero on the back, just, you know, being a nuisance in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's still Bristleback, so 4 melees against Bristle actually sounds like a hell of a bad time in that way. You could also take something here for Jackie to run to have that range advantage against those heroes. Now, I don't think the Ember locks you into that too badly, though. Like, Sleight of Fist makes him kind of pseudo-range, right? Like, it's a melee attack, but you phase out and you can cast it from a fair distance. So you do get some spacing out with that spell, at the least, for the Ember. Still think it's a really good game for it. I think they're just considering that, like, all right, are we going to be screwed by 4 heroes melee? No, Ember it is. I mean, it's a Nea special. Timings are good. It's just really good in this matchup. It's just superb with the Magnus as well.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, Ember's kind of one of those, like, the Spirit Brothers aren't really melee heroes. They're just too mobile to be considered melee. It has to be kind of like an in-between between a range hero and a melee hero, but I do like the pickup. I think it is quite strong here for SMG, but I think MG.Trust may have assumed that was going to be coming, right? Like, surely you knew. Picking up Storm as a 4th pick with a Magnus on the other side, you'd probably be aware that the Ember would be an option, and I think they've purposely left it to be picked up here by Team SMG. And we'll see if it works out for them as we do go into the final picks of the draft. Shout out to both teams for not using too much time during the ban phase. That's what we like to see, John. We don't want to sit here during the draft the whole day. We want to get into the game. We want the meat of the action, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely that nice spicy meat coming through. Interesting bans from MG.Trust. They do seem to expect this to be the KP offlane mag, so they're banning out the pause 4s here. We'll see how SMG closes out. There's still some of that flexibility to maybe run the Magnus as support, but it just feels too greedy. Probably just want that for KP. So the question is, what support do they take? They do go with a Rubik.
Wow.
So some pretty nice spells to steal, especially from the line. I think in this game, just target the line, take the Hex, take the Earth Spike, maybe even a Finger if you're fast enough. It gives you really good control on top of it, and Arcane Supremacy is always nice to have.
Wow.
But MG.Trust go into the Morphling, so now I guess that's one way to get a lot of that utility back your way as well. You can steal the Magnus form, get Skewer, get Empower, you can take Jug, spin around. It's really potent here. Even the Ember form is really nice, and you know, this is a Jackie special. There's nothing to naturally counter the Morphling here as well. No way of burning his mana down, no way of really silencing him down. That's one thing you lack here on SMG. Control is kind of missing. You only have Chains and Lift and RP. Otherwise, the Morphling is going to have a free time and just attribute shifting away.
Absolutely. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. I have turned on the predictions. I know, there's always the one person in chat that's very upset if the predictions aren't on midway through the draft. Don't worry, they're there now. I did almost forget though, I'll be honest. I was probably, you know, maybe a minute of being too late, so sorry about that, but it's alright. The prediction's up now. John, before we do get into the game, I just want to say I'm having a very bad hair day. Not a very good time at all. My barber left the hair, the top of the hair, way too long last time, and I think it's a scam. I think he wants me to go back earlier.
Yeah, I can see it. You know, maybe a bit of a comb, or you know, just touch it up like that.
I just showered, John. I tried. It's too long.
Yeah, it definitely is too long. I guess it's time to give your barber that monthly visit. Still, speaking of predictions a while ago, Mike, this draft, I think it's going to be hard to call it. Right? Like Ember versus Storm, that tends to be Ember favored nowadays, but Fearless can kind of work that out. SMG has some really good farm timings to hit with mid 1 and KP. The question is, will they take too much time to farm up? Because we know what Magnus needs. He needs Blink, he needs Echo Saber for the most part. Maybe even the Shadow Blade down the line and a BKB. But that's a lot of farm KP is going to have to soak up before they maybe even commit that first RP if they don't find the opportunity. Whereas for MG.Trust, you're going to need some really good farm on Jackie and on Masaros as well. But there is some potential to play fast. You've got Lion, who, once you hit 6, you're going to be looking for smoke opportunities. A Bristleback only really needs Hood of Defiance or Vanguard or both. And that is also a fair bit of farm, but it doesn't take too long for Bristle once you hit the levels up to feel tanky anyway. So there's some good back and forth in terms of timings, and we'll just have to see if SMG can just get that good farm rolling with her Mag, Jug, and Ember.
Absolutely. So I'll say it one final time before we officially have the game underway, but I apologize about the stream quality on Twitch. If you can't stream 1080, we do have the YouTube channel live right now as well. It is called Primal Raw on YouTube, and if you look up the channel, you'll see a live stream with all the quality options. Apart from that, though, mid lane, John, mid 1 and Leona X staring each other down for a second. Eventually, Cheeky Undying comes in for some decay. That'll be it. Mushi backs off.
Yeah, they've got some really good clump up potential here for SMG though. You don't want to force anything big with Mushi around, and MG.Trust are spacing themselves nicely enough to not give that Undying some opportunities.
Yeah, this is not a smart fight for MTG. Q, he ran in for an Earth Spike. Gets a bit of harassment out, but that'll be about it. It does seem like it's going to be a 3-for-1 trade, however, in terms of bounties. SMG able to get 3 for their own, and Masaros was only able to grab 1 on the Bristle. So it's going to be a bit of a net worth advantage to get things started for the side of Team SMG.
And they also get the D ward here from Mushi. He clears out that bot camp at release, so he gets some additional gold, taking away the potential for blocking the pulls here for SMG. So it should be easier to stabilize the lane for mid 1. He's on that Jug, up against the Bristle. Not the prettiest lane, but mid 1 already has his magic stick up. So you are going to be at least getting back some burst regen on hand. Once you hit level 2 with a healing ward, you're a lot safer, and even Mushi can do a lot of work here. Masaros on the Bristle is a strength hero, so every single decay stack takes away the potency of your own presence in front in terms of trying to take some last hits, and this is not the easiest lane for the Bristleback to work out with.
Well, Q's doing the smart thing by pulling the creep wave away, but Mushi does an even smarter thing by pulling the large camp over to just kind of get the aggro on that creep wave, but now they're going to try and punish. The only problem being now all the creeps are on the large camp. So they're going to miss out just a little bit here. Masaros, he may be able to kind of double farm the large camp as well, but he did miss the small creep there. It is a bit hard at level 2 to secure the large camp like that. Say, in the end, they still got quite a bit out of it, but I think you're happy if your SMG as Mushi is going to keep taking damage from Q, but is eventually going to be able to back off. And with that, John, we should have a look at the mid lane, where Nia and Fearless are going to be up against each other. Looks like Fearless is trying to be as aggressive as possible early on. Nia, for now, not opting to go for any points in the chain yet, so is just going to try and secure some CS.
Yeah, it's a stable farming lane for both sides. You are pulling slightly ahead for Fearless, so he's really working his right-click harassment with Overload a lot nicer. Of course, as the Ember, you can't really gap close well with static Remnant spam up, so Nia's just going to have to watch that spacing out, and does not quite have the bottle yet. You do have it on Fearless, so the Water Rune for now for Nia isn't the full value. Fearless is just going to have a little bit more presence with his. Still holding even. I think the major spike to watch out for is level 5 to 6. That's when the spells hit a lot harder for both sides.
Mid one, able to pick up first blood there onto Q. Looks like it was just a spin. Did work out in the end. Ushi wasn't even around. He was going for a small camp pull at the time, so it was literally just a solo kill from mid one. Meanwhile, top lane, Leona X and Jackie get a little bit aggressive here onto KP and Fu, but I think SMG should be just fine in the off lane as well. In fact, right now, KP's actually kind of out CSing Jackie on the Morphling, so they have made it a rather tough time for this Morphling this game already. I suppose as the levels do go up, Jackie should be able to secure CS a little bit safer, but KP on the mag is going to be able to get quite a bit of denies off. Fu's going to be very annoying with the Fade Bolt.
Yeah, and there's a lot of strong combinations coming through for SMG. They've got Lift into Skewer Threaten. They can kind of pressure in that way. They've got really good damage with KP. And for the side of MTG... Oh, Leona.
Well, they messed that one up.
Close enough, but...
miscommunication there.
Yeah. For the side of MTG, I think one thing they can do to counteract that Lift into Skewer that we saw try to be pulled off is the fact that, you know, with Attribute Shift and the heal coming out from Abaddon, you can just fully shift Agi and get back to full HP. So you're always going to have that option once Leona does level up the Mist Coil. For now, it is a tougher lane for Jackie. Just trying to sustain against that harassment is difficult. You're still finding equal farm, but you don't really want that. Like, the fact that KP's actually evening out that CS means that KP's timings into his boots, arcane boots, into his blink, into his Echo Saber is not going to be that long.
Oh, they got the large camp pull off here. Fu allowed to get it off. I'm surprised Leona wasn't able to block that. That's a big loss there for MTG. That's going to be a big creep wave for KP underneath the tier 1 tower. They'll get the small camp anyway, but it's not going to be quite as effective. And Fu's going to get another large camp pull-off. Leona, he can't really intercept now because KP's there to protect it.
Yeah, and this is one thing with Abaddon support. Like, in some matchups and some lane partnerships, it can work really well. With a Morphling, it's highly defensive. Like, there's not much aggression you can do. It's very hard to contest these kinds of movements from a hero like the Rubik. So you're just forced to kind of allow them to sap away, and this is really good news for SMG. We said SMG had a greedier start in their lanes. They're working every single lane out quite nicely, and this just means that they're not going to face those issues mid-game where they might be just sitting back and farming. They're still going to meet some item spikes to help them have some presence around the map.
That was a really nice large camp pull from Leona now. This large camp proving to be very annoying for both teams as it stands. Still, how's mid lane going? Fearless, top the CS board right now at 37 and 8. It's like Nia has not been able to really slow him down much on the Ember. Not quite yet anyway. I'm curious as well as to what Nia does go for in terms of itemization on that Ember. In fact, he's going to try for the chains now, but does not end up landing it on Fearless, and Masaros even TP'd in to give him a full bottle.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice move to just get that value onto Fearless so he's not under as much pressure to contest the power runes at the 6-minute mark, and you already have remnants out in Nia, so it can be a bit dicey for the Storm trying to close out. He does get lucky though. Regen for Fearless. He's going to be a very happy lad. Usually not really able to harass too much out. You're also at the point here where Masaros is just clearing out some stacks. There are a lot of stacks in that triangle, so he's had a bit of a slower time down bot. It is a free lane for mid 1, but Masaros hasn't really died. and he still gets space to find some farms. So you're still going to need some item timings. You do worry about the Jug getting a bit too much here, as mid 1 is actually going for defusal. So I love this. We tend to see a lot of Jugs with Magnus still go Battle Fury, but with a defusal up, mid 1's going to be able to fight that much earlier, and he doesn't need to really worry about Battle Fury time because KP will just empower him.
Yeah. We've seen this before as well, right? During TI, Diffusal Gyrocopter. Why not Diffusal Juggernaut? Just drain the mana of the Bristle and you'll have a lot less issues going on. Even up against the Morph and the Storm, it can be quite frustrating as, well, now to attribute shift you do need mana. Arfu gonna get jumped on here, Fearless, nice rotation in. Arfu, he can hope for a deny on the Ancients, but no. He won't be able to get it. Leona X the one to take the kill. Fearless, he'll be able to just go back into the mid lane. He's still top of the CS board.
Yeah, he's just really working this aggression nicely. This is kind of what we expect to come out from Nea, but his own timings are feeling a bit off. The farm advantage you have here on Fearless is noticeable enough that he does have one small item up to play with. He's building into the Orchid. He's got the Rope of the Magi and the Sage's Mask, so a little bit more mana for those zips. And Nea doesn't even have a casual rate band, still waiting for the phase boot, so our Ember is not really free to roam yet, which is not ideal here for SMG. I think if you look at the state of the game in the other lanes, KP hit 6, has Arcane and Soul Ring up. You might be able to maybe get a quick and easy rotation out on the Ember, just force RP onto 1, and kind of try to build up through pickoffs.
Masaros, 65 HP, does get a nice stack off on the Ancient Camp. He's just got to be careful. Grim Handle waiting there. Hopefully Masaros does not forget about it. Nah, he won't. He knows. Still playing with fire though with that Ancient stack, but I think he should be just fine.
Yeah.
Top lane, Leona. Shockwave does connect KP. He'd love a skewer back. He might just get one now with the lift, and yeah, there it is, Leona. There's no way out of that one. Now the group up from SMG up at this top side. So they want to go for the tier 1 top tower, and well, when you've got Nea around and when you've got the RP up on KB, there's not too much to be afraid about.
No, they should be able to melt this tower real fast, and MTG are not in position to defend. This is the one thing you sacrifice with a Bristleback. Like, Masaros just wants to sit back and farm, the same as his other 2 cores. It's not a very active hero until a Vanguard, until a Hood of Defiance is up. You see a bit of a rotation up top, though. Looks like they might want to look for some punishment.
Yeah, I mean, Masaros can just stand here and defend for ages on this Bristle. Nea's going to try and maybe harass him out a little bit on this this Ember, but no, he won't even bother. It's probably just not worth his time. As Masaros will continue to chase down KP, and meanwhile, mid lane, Fearless, he's going to be fine. KP, he'll TP out as well. Masaros unable to get the kill, and everyone just kind of TPing out. Now Mushi's being chased down by Leona. Meanwhile, mid lane, SMG, they're going to get the push start on the tier 1 mid tower and try to force the rotations in. Who's going to be there? Let's spike out. Fearless. Not going to Vortex yet, but there's your Hex out. Omni was committed, but it's on the creep wave. Mid 1 does not kill anyone with it. Here comes Masaros on the Bristle. It's like Mushi's going to be targeted. They don't have the Nasal Goo, but they'll go after the Tombstone. Mushi, he does not have Soul Rip to heal it up. They will be able to take it down, but they'll get Leona X instead. They get the Abaddon kill. They do force everyone from Motivate to rotate into that mid lane. Now everyone just will disperse.
Yeah, it's a really good defense out from MG.Trust SMG. They were lacking a couple of tools to really take and force a big fight there. And KP had to blow his RP TPing out from top because when he was trying to skewer away, he actually caught Masaros. He wanted to just bail out, needed to blow the RP. It is a fairly long cooldown to have to expend just for a TP, and that just meant Motivate could get the defense off. Now they're going to look for a shove-in. They're the ones eyeing mid now.
Fearless. Zip in, he found Mushi. Trying to get some D-wards off. But looks like Mushi probably just going to forfeit his life away here to Fearless. He'll try to buy it a bit of time, but eventually the Storm will be able to take the kill. And well, Fearless is very close now to the Orchid, which is going to be a pretty big cause of concern for SMG. Meanwhile, the group up mid. Defend that mid tier 1 tower. KP has no RP available. Masaros is literally just going to turn his back and let the siege creep do the work. And it's working quite nicely, but here comes mid one with the rest of the team. Masteros going to be targeted. Skewer going to be off the mark. Masteros is still falling quite low, but not low enough. He's going to be okay. Leona X the one to drop first. Now Nia keeps going for more. He wants Q on the Lion. Q's going to try and run, but the Earth Spike is out from Arfu. Masteros, he's been purged up mid one. He's got the Diffusal Blade, and now the RP in from KB. No games here from the Magnus. In SMG, they're onto the mid tier 1 again. In fact, they're all TPing out. But mid 1, he'll be the only one to commit the TP fully as Nia. He'll stick in the mid. Jackie's going to come back in on the Morphling. Gets the chains out, Jackie. What can you do with this, Fearless? He's going to zip in, but the Remnant the other way now from Nia. And he's quite healthy. He should be just fine. His MTG can't lock him down long enough. And once again, MTG are back into that tier 1 mid tower. I suppose without the RP up, they feel a lot safer, but Jackie's going to be careful. They still have a lot of damage output. There's your lift up. KP, he could not get the skewer off. Q. And the spike is there on the Ember. And now SMG group up. These mid tier 1 towers just not going to last very long between these two teams, apparently.
Yeah, they just constantly force the issue out. It's been really good for SMG though. They take a 62 kill lead. They start to invade the triangle and they can keep punishing Leona.
Leona's having a very tough time. Still level 5. Just about to hit level 6, but he won't quite get there in time. And I've got to say, John, SMG, I mean, you talked about it during the pre-draft conversation. They weren't having a very good time throughout the qualifiers, but right now in the lower division, they are undefeated, and well, at least during this game 1, they are looking very strong.
They definitely are. They're playing around their timings real well. KP is not hesitating to just use RP as needed. Catches one, that's fine. Uses it to TP out safely, perfectly fine. Issue for MG.Trust, offlane Bristle just does not have teamfight presence outside of tanking up. Like, for KP, he can set up with RP, he can threaten with Skewer, he can empower his Magnus. But for Masteros, all he does is soak damage and hopes to get some Quilt Spray stacks up. There's really not much AoE control from MG.Trust outside of a really good Earth Spike from Q. So there's a lot of pressure on the line here to set up in the 5v5s, and it's a lot harder for Lion to do that. Like, we've seen the patience from Afu on his Rubik to steal out the Earth Spike. That's enough to make it very hard for the Lion to fully commit without knowing where the Rubik is. So it's really hard for MG.Trust to actually approach. And for SMG, they open up the map, they're going to look for more, they're grouping up top. Nea does have the Orb of Corrosion up along with Phase Boots, so he hits a lot harder. There's not even an Empower up on him yet, but once you start playing with that combo, right-click start hurting a lot more. Saving up for the quick Manta, and once you have the Manta, you're going to be protected from that Orchid. So they got the counter items to the Storm timings here, and they're just finding everything they'd want. There is a bit of a clump up from MG.Trust in that Radiant jungle, getting some safe farm out for all their cores. It's a very limited spot for all 3 cores to farm in though, so it's not as efficient compared to SMG's movement across the map.
No, it certainly isn't, John. MTG, they're going to try and force in this bottom tier 2 a little bit. Meanwhile, SMG still just kind of happy to bide their time and keep the farm up. How's mid one doing? He's very close to that Manta now, and Nia's going for the exact same thing. Just wanting to try and counter out the Orchid that is already there by Fearless. So the Manta is going to be the item choice for both cores on SMG. Meanwhile, MTG, obviously for them, they are going to be heavily reliant on Jackie farming up the Morphling, but for now, you kind of want to see them make a play. Like, you've still got this Bristleback that you can abuse early on. But it's SMG that are the ones that are kind of initiating team fights here. Like, they're going again, mid lane, Masteros, having his mana drained by mid one. Loses pretty much all of it. So there's about 200 left. Fu sticking around, Masteros gonna give him the nasal goo, but Nia, give him a sleight of fist back. You can already see as the game goes on, that Diffusal Blade from mid one is going to be a real nuisance for Masteros. Like, he has the Soul Ring and he has the Wand, but at some point it is going to get rather frustrating just having no mana in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not ideal for the Bristleback, and I know you're saying that you can play around Bristle right now. They really, I don't think they can. Like the threat of team fight coming through from SMG sticking his 5 is just too strong. A Bristle can't overcome all of the spells being thrown out. Can't overcome the decay stacks building up. Can't stop the Soul Rip from just healing everyone up as well. There's just much more for SMG to play with on hand. Whereas for MG.Trust, they need to keep farming. They need this E-Blade up on Jackie. They need a BKB up on Fearless. And even with a BKB, the threat of RP is still really big. So you take out the control from Chains and the lift, but KP, if he finds a good angle, can still lock in that Storm Spirit.
Masaros, he's going to get pincered in here. He's in a pretty big, awkward position. Shockwave, Masaros losing a lot of HP. Fearless going to go onto KP. Tombstone has been dropped on. KP's just fine. He might just turn here. Leona, borrowed time going to be popped. KP's still looking for the Storm. Not going to be able to find him, but they'll take the Abaddon. I'll tell you, John, SMG, they're making it look easy right now. MG.Trust, they are still yet to find an answer.
Yeah, it's just they're not able to fight. They just need to stall out and farm. They pull out their core, so the only hero they've been losing is really Leona X, which is great. Just losing the Abaddon's not too bad, but Masaros.
Yeah, he's getting dived underneath the tier 2 tower. Now they need some help. Fearless going to come in right onto Arfu with the silence out. Will try to get rid of the Rubik, but he can't even get that. The heals are there. He does finally get him, but in the backside, the RP was committed. They lost Q already. Onto Jackie now, who's trying to take down KP. He will be able to get him, but mid one gets Masaros. So a very even kind of team fight. Both Pos 4s and offlaners going down. The MTG, they do defend that tier 2 mid tower. I suppose with the Ethereal Blade now up on Jackie, he can start to get involved in this Morphling. But it still feels like SMG are finding the better end of things.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones forcing the issue. It's MG.Trust on the defensive. And in general, that's not where you want to be as a team. You want to be the ones forcing SMG in awkward spots. It gives you more opportunities to cut them off, more opportunities to see your enemy make some mistakes. And for the most part, MTG can't force that out from SMG just yet. They are kind of keeping this game even, though, despite being at a massive kill deficit at nearly 20 minutes, and they're only about 2k behind. So they're keeping up in the farm. Jackie's getting a ton of farm out. Masaros and Fearless are pretty even in terms of build-up, and it's really KP that's playing behind for SMG. He's even going full utility on the Magnus, going for the Glimmer Cape instead. They do go for the Roche here, though, and this one is something MG.Trust absolutely can't give away. They need to spot it out, but they don't really have the best vision around the pit.
No, I mean, they're right around there, but they do not know this is happening. Even with KP walking out of the Roshan pit, they still don't see it because there's no wards on the right side. Maybe now they do, but it's going to be too late. As mid one can just finish off the Roshan, he'll take the Aegis. Of course, MG.Trust probably going to have to back out of this jungle now as Jackie is going to be spotted mid one. Defuse him up. Instead, Leona going to be targeted, but Shockwave will not reach. But I suppose perhaps with that Aegis up, you get a bit more farm up, and then you can move into that mid-tier 2 tower. MG.Trust, they're going to be forced to respond to this. I just don't know how they're going to respond.
It really relies on a couple things. Masaros living long enough for everyone to come in, and Q working this Blink Dagger. Like, he's got the Blink on the line, and it's flying out. So there's some opportunities now for MG.Trust to actually find the back line, maybe take care of the Undying or the Rubik. Heck, even the Ember, if you can catch him out with your Hex, would be a really good pick-off to start fights with. And they just need to play around that. It's all down to Q and onto Fearless to follow up. A really good scan here from SMG does at least give a signal out to Nea. He's not going to be caught out here, and he can just kind of bait out with his Manta style.
Oh, they're going to fall for it. Earth Spike is out. Zip in. Oh, they'll realize it. They didn't really commit much. It's fine. The top tier 2, though, is not going to be so fine. Still Masaros is going to try and apply some pressure in the mid-tier 2 tower, but he needs a creep wave. Now SMG, they can go high ground. If MG.Trust do not back off, mid one can just keep going with the siege creep. He's going to force the TPs back, it seems. There you go. There's one from Q, a second from Jackie. Can they kill the junk? Q has the Hex. Oh, he got a creep.
Oh, Q.
Oh, that's unfortunate. We've all done it. We have all done it. Fearless, he's going to zip in, look for KP. He will find the Vortex. They do at least get something for their trouble. Just a little bit unfortunate there on the Hex, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on the line. He's the one who really needs to start these fights for him. He didn't quite get it there, so SMG's going to be happy with that. It would have been pretty awkward anyway. Mid one has Aegis. KP was close enough that if they did fully commit, I think KP might have just ran in, RP'd, and tried to stall out ASAP for his jug, and could have ended the same way. He'd spin afterwards, and then the Magnus is the one to die. So maybe not too much loss there for MG.Trust and Theoreticals. Still opens up the map a bit more. They can start going a bit forward. There are some really good wards from SMG though, so they have seen all the movements out from MG.Trust. Need some D wards down. They do at least take the cliff ward. This ramp ward still going to be standing as it is outside of that sentry range. Still a little bit of information there for SMG. They're farming up really well. Mid one's almost at the point where Scotty's going to be up. Once you have that, the strength shifting on the Morphling's not going to feel amazing. The sustain coming out from the Abaddon's not going to feel amazing. With a Scotty on a jug, you're also very close now to having a blink on KP. I say that, but it just means he's queuing it up. You are getting these tools on hand, and SMG, with the vision they have, are looking for a smoke play.
I don't blame them. They understand how strong they are right now, and MTG still do not have an answer, it seems. Mid one, he'll get started on the bot tier 2. Masaros going to be purged up again. They want to drain the mana straight away. Masaros, he's almost already out. Mushi with the tombstone going to slow him down. Mid one still going, and now Masaros is completely out of mana, but he will have a soul ring to use. Q will go for a Hex onto the jug. Earth Spike not going to be on target. And Masaros, Jackie, oh, he's been RP'd. They've got the Morphling, but the Aphotic Shield is going to save the day. Meanwhile, mid one, he's dropping low. He'll go for a spin. Fearless, he's in now. Onto the backside, but he's been caught out. He'll zip away. They kept going. Spike is there. They've caught the jug. Mid one is somehow still alive, though. They did not take out the Aegis. He is finally going to go down to Masaros. Nia and Mushi, both already dying, so now MG.Trust, they can definitely keep going. They are a little bit low on mana, but Masaros, he does not care. He's in. Mid one, gonna be targeted. No, he'll go after Leona. Jackie will keep focusing the jug, but again, the creep wave gonna come in. Still Jackie taking a fair bit of damage, but mid one, he is surrounded and should eventually go down, but KP trying to help out. It's just not gonna be enough. Mid one, still trying to run. Masaros getting lifted up. Mid one, he's gonna be all right. Or is he? Q is trying to have a look. Instead, they're gonna go after Arfu. A very prolonged kind of team fight. It's still going to lead to basically 3 kills on the side of SMG. Mid one, he lost the Aegis, but he does not lose his real life. And what looks like MG.Trust, they're starting to find their footing here in game number 1.
Yeah, I think it boiled down to one major factor there for SMG, where it went a bit wrong. Mid one, he managed to burn off all the mana of Masaros, but then he kept hitting the Bristleback. Once you take care of the Bristleback's mana, you have to look elsewhere. You need to burst the other heroes. The line has to go ASAP. This time around, Leona X lived through most of that fight, so he managed to get a lot of uses out of his Aphotic Shield and Mist Coil, which just pushed MG.Trust right over the edge and surviving. So you need to be able to kill off the supports as the Jug, or any core. Ignore the Bristle. Like, you get full value from the Diffusal once you burn down his mana, but after that, the damage output of mid one doesn't feel amazing. Like, with Manta and 2 parts of the Ultimate Orb, it's nice, even with Empower, but it still feels sort of lacking. The Crimson Guard on Masaros actually really saving MG.Trust as well, building up that durability against the physical damage. So I think just some target shifting in the middle of the fight is going to be necessary. Like, once you take her, like, leaving a Bristleback alive with no mana, it's not a problem. Like, he does nothing. He's a melee creep that just runs around wanting some attention. That's exactly what SMG would want, and hopefully that's something they kind of tweak in the next fight.
Leona. Show up, Fearless. He'll be in that mid lane as well. Mid one, gonna get started on the Abaddon. Q is there with the Hex up into the Ethereal Blade. Jackie might blow him up. The Glimmer Cape is there. They cannot get him. The junk is gonna be fine for now. Mid one is gonna be able to spin away. They don't have the damage output. And they did not have the detection either. Mushi, he will die. Earth Spike up from Arfu is going to stop Masaros. Where was the dust?
I think it flew out. I think Fearless had it. Yeah,
Okay.
I saw a dust fly, but it looked like they mistargeted afterwards. Maybe, again, target issues with the positioning of the camera, the angle there. They were hitting the Undying instead. And I think there was just miscommunication coming out from Motivate. They might have felt confident they had the kill, so they wanted to be efficient with that small window of control. Cost them in the end. Undying is not the biggest kill for them. SMG again scraping by the tips of her fingers there and just managing to stay in. 11-9. 1k lead now up for MTG. They can start applying some pressure on the lanes. They've got Lotus Orb to save now on Masaros. They can have even more frontline presence on the Morphling, just putting that on him. Jackie saving up for his Scotty, so you're going to have a Scotty versus Scotty on these cores. We need to see mid one, I don't know, get something else up. Like, he needs some damage. He's going for the Abyssal next. I'd say a Butterfly might feel really nice here, just to have some damage output. If not, Chuck's a strange one, because MKB is alright on him. It also feels like a bit of a weird slot if there's no evasion, so maybe a Maelstrom into Mjolnir would be really good for mid one, actually. Just going into more damage for the Omni, it just kind of lacks. He didn't manage to pop it there, though, so it wasn't a major issue in that fight. But MG.Trust, they smoke up again.
That they do. We're just hanging around that their side of the river. Not wanting to cross yet, Fearless. Himself a haste room bottled up. Leona going to avoid the stun out from Arfu. I think SMG, it's almost like the tables have turned and SMG are the ones that don't really want to fight. They do have all the ultis up, so you might want to see a smoke soon from SMG.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that link. KP just farms it up now, so it's flying in, and this is the moment where they need to smoke, get a good RP, even onto 2 heroes is going to be enough, and just force the issue out. MG.Trust, they can play without worrying about cooldowns. They do have a fresh BKB here on Fearless. It's down to 8 seconds, of course, but that's long enough for the Storm to still have that great presence out, so you'll have to watch that. It's got the Kaya up, saving up for the Sanj next to have that added strength, added status resist. But there's that smoke on SMG.
Yeah, mid one going to move in first. Now he'll show himself. They found Fearless. That's a massive target. The Storm is gone. Now the RP up, but it's only on Q. Still, they'll get the Lion and make sure that he won't be able to get those disables out, as now MTG have no way to fight. Just need to run. Borrowed time. Going to be popped out by Leona X, but the rod of Atos is going to fly in, and Leona X is gone. A triple kill out for Nia. And Roshan is up. I don't believe they've scouted it yet, but they should go have a look, and I'm sure mid one will be very happy with what he sees.
Yeah, just very well played from SMG. MG.Trust, I mean, they're kind of spaced out, so the RP is never big. It also means that the saving graces you have with the Dispels on your Abaddon, with the Lotus Orb on Masaros, you couldn't fly out to save Fearless. So very well played coming out from SMG. And this time around, they're going to have Aegis, Cheese, and the Ag Shard. So we'll see who does get priority. It could be really good in mid one to give that Blade Fury move speed and random damage, which is really strong. But you could also opt to maybe give it to KP as well. The Horn Toss can kind of help you with setup. It looks like they will just slide it through to mid one. So faster movement in Blade Fury, going to be even harder to catch out the Jug when he does get that spell off. And we've seen MG.Trust kind of struggle with that. Not going to get any easier here. 2k lead now up for SMG, and MG.Trust have to be careful. They know there's no RP, but they have to fight against Aegis Cheese.
Astaros just kind of standing still, hoping nobody notices him in the Invis rune. KP. Cape out, sentry down, they've got him. They've got the Magnus, but Fearless has been lifted up. He'll get the BKB off. There's your finger, KP, he's gone. Onto Arfu now. That'll be your Rubik dead as well. SMG not willing to fight without the full squad. Just want to run now, but Ethereal Blade. Nice man to dodge out from mid one. To avoid the Ethereal. MTG, they may have to just kind of give up on this chase. But they already got 2 nice targets, and with that they can force the mid-tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it's it's a bit hard. I mean, SMG didn't have RP up anyway on KP. Respawns are fairly short, so you're not going to find much more here for Motivate Trust, but they win a fight against Aegis Cheese. That's really big for the side of Motivate Trust. They get to control that bot jungle a bit more, get their farm up and running. They already have a Scotty up on Jackie. They're just waiting for the Sanj on Fearless. Masaros now is pretty much unkillable with the itemization that came out from SMG. Like the damage output from Nea and from mid 1 just isn't amazing yet. They really need Empower on top of them in these fights to kind of get that damage flowing. Every single time KP dies without getting Empower on his course, it feels lacking from SMG. So maybe a bit more caution due here from KP to just ensure he's around to get that damage up on SMG Sandas. Without that Empower, they didn't itemize for damage at all. So they really need the Magnus around to buff them up. And Masaros?
Skewer in, nice skewer there from KB. Masaros immediately targeted, but the Aphotic Shield does fly in to try and help out. He's still alive, still tanking. Mid 1 still trying to get him down, but now the Ethereal's out. Jackie gonna keep him even more protected. They'll go on to Q instead. They want the Lion dead first. Q, he will eventually drop. Leona now is getting quite low himself as SMG still moving in, but here comes Fearless from the backside onto KB, but it's not gonna be enough damage. There's way too much heals flying out, and Fearless, he has been bashed, and he will go down. Great team fight from SMG. They just got everything they could have asked for. There's no buybacks for Motivate. So they're going high ground now. SMG should be 1 racks down.
Yeah, they've still got RP here as well on KP. They popped the BKB on Fearless down and RP.
Oh, they got the big one. Jackie has no Aphotic Shield to protect, and they just burst him down. Great setup there by KP on the mag, and well, Jackie has buyback, but he does not want to commit it like this. Not when he has no teammates alive. And even when they are alive, John, I don't know if he really wants to commit it. He might just let 2 Raxes go down and try to go from there instead.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, KP.
It's tough. Oh.
He's caught another Leona X being dragged in to the grass. Oz SMG. Masaros trying to back off. Leona, he will not have that privilege. In fact, mid 1 trying to take the life of Masaros. Q can't help out because Nia is right on the backside and they've got another. Wow, SMG, just look at the coordination now, John. You see mid 1 going after Masaros. Meanwhile, Nia, he checks for Q. He makes sure the line can't break the gap and get the Hex off. And now they're onto Tier 4 towers. I think Motivate, they're going to buy back and try to defend, but it's looking very rough for them. As mid 1 still has the Aegis. And they have so much sustain. Mid 1, he's going to zip in onto Arthur on the backside, but mid 1 is going to come in with the spin now, and the bash comes out. Fearless, he will be forced to zip away, but Q, he does not have zip available, not on the Lion, as Jackie, he will die and well, he will get the kill on Arthur, so he gets the Rubik. And SMG, they're going to back off. Fearless now zipping in right through 3 of them, but the bash is there into the Abyssal Blade. They have got the Storm. Jackie, he is still trying. Mid 1, playing around here, but he's getting really stunned up for quite a while. Leona now dropping quite low, but KP is going to be targeted. Jackie, he'll find another. Back on a mid 1. The man fight is upon us. The Jug burst the morph. Mid 1, which way do you go? Leona, he goes down. Another kill for the Jug. Onto Jackie again. Jackie is still trying to man fight, but there's your finger out. Q, he'll get the job done. He'll interrupt. Now onto Arthur. They've got the Rubik down. He will Glimmer Cape, but it's not going to be good enough. Or is it? Arthur, what a little sneaky dupe there. Does get himself out. And now KP's back. They have the RP up. Earthspike is out. Now Nia shows up with the Sleight of Fist and Chains. Arthur, quite low, gets the lift onto Masaros, and the Arcane, the Psychic Headband, excuse me, does get him out into the Earthspike. And that'll be it. So 2 racks is down, no Tier 4 towers, but MTG are still going.
That they are. SMG just sort of forcing the issue there, not respecting the buybacks. Motivate Trust managing to find some angles. Their backs are against the wall now, though. Like, the moment they lose a fight, the high ground's going to be siege, and SMG is going to look to close the game out. And they need to finish up this last item on Jackie. Looks like he's finishing up this Satanic here. and just go all in. Hope that your Morphling can overcome the Scotty. Hope that he can just stand and fight. The lucky bashes coming through from mid 1 has been changing the dynamic. Like, you can't just zip in for Fearless anymore. Once a Blade Fury's up with the Ag Shard, you're going to melt to that free right-click attack damage, and you will just eventually get bashed at some point.
Uh-oh. Nia has been caught. Oh, the Ethereal, though, they'll get him. Fearless now. TP's into the outpost. Onto Arfu. They'll find another. Glimmercade, not going to save. Jackie has the damage. And Dota Plus was saying that there was over a 90% chance that SMG would win. But you never really count MG.Trust out. They've done this many times before. In fact, there's 2 heroes down without buyback right now, John. So you never know what they could do.
Oh yeah. They're going to try to force it. They have to respect the RP coming through. There is an RP and Omni ready to go from KP. And mid 1.
He's going to go in with a spin. Jackie will spin himself. Bit of a Beyblade action here between these two. Mid 1 will move in again onto Leona. No, they've got the heads off. They've got the jug. Mid 1. He's gone.
Oh.
KP could not save him. He'll buy back, but KP is going to drop without buyback. Oh no, what have they done? In they go, Jackie.
God.
He smells blood on the water. He's onto the tier 4 towers. And how do you stop this? It's 2 versus 5. They've got 15 seconds for Arfu and Nia, but they've got to buy the timeout. And even without KP, I'm not sure if they can fight this. Masteros, he's going to frontline now. The Hex out. Fearless gets the Orchid. Back to the tier 4 towers, boys. Ancient should be exposed very soon, but here come the respawns. Jackie, he's been bashed up. Mid 1, gonna move in. Leonex trying to save him. The Ancient's still under siege, but mid 1 is trying to fight. Jackie fighting back. There's no damage flying out. Now Jackie's out of mana. This is looking really bad, but the Ancient is still falling. MG.Trust, they're just gonna keep focusing it down, and they've got it. The comeback might be real.
Oh my
they
God!
get it. They get it done again. You can't count these guys out. They've done it too many times now, John. We can't doubt them anymore.
Oh my God, what a way to close out the first game. MG.Trust, their backs are against the wall. They win out the team fight. That movement from mid 1, that was all down in Fearless, right? Mid 1 goes in. You saw the skewer out from KP. Fearless vortexed up the Magnus and orchided him up. So he focused the right target. The follow-up RP didn't come in to save mid 1. And SMG, it all stemmed back to the fact that they took out the racks, they took out the tier 4s, they tried to go for the jugular. Instead, they gave the knife over to MG.Trust. So they had control. They managed to find some kills without buybacks. They stalled out long enough. And Jackie, with the last pick item on the Satanic, just meant that with the Scotty up, doesn't matter. He pops the Satanic active. He gets enough from attribute shift and his right clicks to still stay in the fight because there's a lack of damage from SMG. And it just turns around. What a bloody game. Like, we knew these teams would be evenly tied because both are undefeated. That was way too close for either side's comfort, though. Way too close.
You love to see it, SMG. I mean, that loss might hurt them a little bit. It's got to be quite demotivating to lose in that kind of fashion when you had the Ancient exposed and you were 2 racks up. But I've got to tell you again, SMG, they are looking a lot better than, say, last week. And even the week before that. A lot of improvement showing here between these players, and I'm looking very forward to game number 2, which is going to be coming up in roughly 5 to 10 minutes. We are going to head off to a short break, but we'll be right back after that break to see how the game 2 trial will go. Till then, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are officially here for game number 2 between Team SMG and MG.Trust Gaming. It's MLP Dota and John Fire. John, you still look rather shocked from what happened in the last game, sir, but how are you feeling? Tell us about it.
I had some shakes at the end there. MG.Trust bouncing back in, holding off the Ancient fight, going into the high ground, somehow managing to kill off Mid-1 and KP. That was the big one. Like, Mid-1 walking in was a bit optimistic, but he was waiting for the backup from KP. Never came out. Fearless found the right target to silence up and Vortex up as they were all focusing on the Jug, and that just cut off the combo from SMG. So it fell a bit flat. SMG maybe overstaying their welcome and trying to go for that jugular there, straight for the Ancient after their high ground fight. And they just gave the opportunity for MG.Trust to bounce back. So it's very close game. I don't think anyone could have predicted it to end that way. We do have the draft rolling in here for game number 2, though. SMG do get the Beastmaster. So they've got that tool on hand. MG.Trust do start out with the Death Prophet. Surprising that both teams kind of just leaving that Beastmaster in here as well. Like, the fact that it's not banned and MG.Trust just don't pick it up. I guess it's because Fearless, we haven't seen him play that here at all. So it kind of makes sense, but we give this strong tool for SMG to play with. SMG, though, go with the line to follow up, so they've got really good control on their side. Very good stunts for stuff like any of the Spirit Brothers. I think when you see that Beastmaster core, especially if it's going to be mid here for Nea, you might want to consider a Rubik pickup here for MG.Trust, just to be able to steal the access, have some flex for, say, a Fearless Rubik mid, and just kind of go that way. That's probably the best response to the Beastmaster you could ask for.
But for Team SMG, why not just take the Morphling yourself, John? Just take the Morphling, get Aghanim Scepter, get those double axes flying out. I think that's the way to play it. Now, I do agree with you that for MG.Trust, you may as well take the Rubik, and if you wanted to run the core Rubik in the mid lane while stealing the axes, it does sound like a decent idea, because his axes are stronger than the Beastmaster axes thanks to Arcane Supremacy. But we'll find out how these teams want to play it out. I mean, it's not really all about the Beastmaster. For now, MG.Trust, they do go for the DP Clockwork opening. SMG sticking with their Beastmaster Lion. We'll have to go into the next ban phase, but MG.Trust, they do go ahead and respect ban out the Juggernaut, which I do appreciate, because Mid-1 was doing a pretty darn good job that game. Only at really just the end of the game did things kind of fall apart for them. And going back to that last game, John, that last team fight where we saw SMG in the Dire base and they were onto the Ancient, should they have stuck around? Or was that too risky?
It was way too risky.
Right.
Way too risky. They couldn't find the angle for their follow-up stuns. They were forcing the issue out way too long. They didn't respect the buybacks flying through from MG.Trust. Heck, they didn't respect the Lion. Q really managed to get a lot of good work. Once he got the Hex combo off onto the Juggernaut, like they do have good heals with the Undying around, but it wasn't enough. Like, they had no Dispels on their side. They had no way of saving the Jug outside of a Glimmer Cape, and it was just not enough. Like, the burst damage was there for MG.Trust. It was also a bit of a damage issue for SMG. The itemization for Mid-1, right? He went for Manta, Diffusal, Basher, Abyssal. There was no damage on him. Like, he had to rely completely on Empower. We saw that actually come out towards the end when they tried to focus Masaros. With a Diffusal, you drain his mana, but you wouldn't kill him. So any other time, like, you drain his mana and you still focus on that Bristleback, it's time wasted. It's not efficient in the fight, and it sort of just fell flat for SMG in terms of damage output towards the end because of that itemization. They were really relying on KP to stay alive, to keep Nea and keep Mid-1 topped up. And that was the hard part, because MG.Trust knew that was going to happen. They kept focusing down KP as much as possible, preventing him from getting good RPs and from preventing him from living true to get that Empower off every single time.
Certainly so. SMG, they're going to take a bit of time here for this this fourth ban out, it looks like, so just have to wait this one out. MG.Trust, they did get rid of the Queen of Pain. Fair enough. I've got to tell you, these two teams, right? I think there's a third one in the mix as well, but these guys have been looking, both these teams have been looking so good to qualify to the up division next season, and I know a lot of people in the Twitch chat have been talking about it as well, kind of saying MG.Trust is guaranteed to make it, SMG is guaranteed to make it. But then you've got this other team called Southbuild Esports who are currently at the top of the ladder, and you can't really figure about them either. So it's very hard to know what's going on. I could still take a wild guess and say SMG and Motivate might be the two teams to be able to relegate themselves to the upper division next season, but it is very hard to tell. Hell, even Army Geniuses yesterday we were watching in a different tournament, and they looked really good. Mystery looked really good the other day. It's really hard to tell. And I was thinking of this the other day, John, when I was actually in bed, and I was thinking to myself, man, Season 3 of the SEA DPC, especially the upper division, is going to be so lit, for lack of a better word, right? Like, it's going to be insane. Assuming the right teams make it up, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I think there's a huge improvement across all the teams going into Season 2 here. Like, Southbuild, of course, they were formerly Vice. They dropped down from the upper div, but here in the lower div, it looks like they've regained their footing. They're looking a lot better. They did drop one series down, but overall still in the lead because of games played. We'll have to see how as it builds on. The draft does continue. SMG do take the Monkey King. So they take the Monkey King against Jackie. And it looks like that should be our mid one here. Possibly Nea's hero. But I think Nea's just going to have to, has the preference for highly mobile Spirit Brothers. Of course, Monkey King can be sort of mobile as well with a tree jump and, the talent spikes where that just drops down to crazy. So you've got some mobility on hand. Probably still looking for Nea hero. MG.Trust do go with the Oracle, which they love to play around. They know the timings of the Oracle. They know what to hit with it. And it does look like SMG do go for the KP Brewmaster. So we haven't seen that, or at least not as often as before. It's still one of his specials. I think every single time they do manage to sneak that away back in TNC, it always looked great. So KP's on a very strong comfort tier. We do have our, looks like we have our 3 Corsair in hand with Nea Beastmaster hammered in.
I'm so sorry, John. I just realized, and I don't mean to take away from the draft, but what a hype day of SEA Dota it is. Like, you got MG.Trust versus SMG here, and then right after this, Online Rambulan, Neon versus TNC. I don't know how this crossed my mind. I just had a look, and I was like, wait a minute. TNC versus Neon right after this, that's going to be crazy. What a great day of SEA Dota. This is the kind of day that I love to just sit back, get some food, just order some takeaway, and, turn on the TV, just watch some Dota all night. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the perfect timings, too. It's like 3 o'clock for that next matchup on schedule. So that's like the perfect time for Merienda, Mike. That's a Merienda showdown. A Merienda Rambulan.
Merienda Rambulan. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the upgraded version of the Rambulan. There you go. MG.Trust, they're going to go ahead and pick up the Storm now, and I don't quite blame them either. I mean, Fearless had a pretty nice time last time around. Nea could go back into the Ember, assuming it is not going to be banned out now. But then again, I mean... Yeah?
You've got Beastmaster, right?
Sure.
Like, that usually is the mid. I don't know if there's flexibility for Brewmaster support, but with a Lion, it feels pretty greedy. So I think they've just kind of hammered in their Tricore. And MG.Trust, I mean, they have to deal with a Beastmaster, sure. But they've got the Oracle. You've got False Promise, and you've got the Fate's Edict around. You've got some protection towards some magic damage there as well. It can line up. There is some counterplay coming through there for MG.Trust. Whether or not it's enough to stop the insanity of Beastmaster is another question. But there are some back and forth here for both sides. We'll have to see what MG.Trust will opt for the Oracle combo now. Troll's still an option here if you want to go for that. Perhaps something else down the line as well. Maybe an Ursa would be nice with the Oracle, not the most meta hero. I think the Troll just lines up really nicely. Laning against Brewmaster could still be annoying, but you've got the Oracle combo. You might as well go for something like a Troll here.
Shame we don't get to see the Beastmaster morphling this game. Very, very sad. So in case TNC's watching, TNC, morphling, Beastmaster, we'd love to see it.
Oh no!
I want the game. I want a game with Beastmaster morph on one side and a Rubik on the other side. I just want to see axes everywhere. That's what I want.
The crazy thing is that's exactly what could happen as well. Like TNC, they love their morph combos, as you mentioned. But Neon, they're not afraid of running core Rubik. They're not afraid to give that to Yapaj. So, that could be something to look forward to if Beastmaster isn't banned. I think this is just the outlier series where both teams select a true. For the most part, there is a priority ban. So we'll have to see when that series comes around. That would be spicy though. All the access in the world, all of it.
All of them. MG.Trust get the Ursa. Whoa! Ooh. Team SMG pick up a Ricky. And is that going to be a... No, it's a mid-Ricky. Wait a minute.
Oh, Afu Brew. Okay.
Pos for Brewmaster. KB on the offlane Beastmaster. But mid-Ricky, how do you play it now? Is it still the same as it used to be? Because I feel like the whole Battle Fury Ags thing got old pretty much after the patch. There's been talks about the Ag Shard with the Sleeping Dart, but I'm not sure how you really play around that. Could be quite impactful here, this game. I don't know. I'm very excited, though. A mid-Ricky's here for SMG, and it's a pretty big mix-up.
It really is. It feels greedy for SMG, though. Like, you're running a Brewmaster 4, so that's a line 5. Blink timing for line's going to be slow. Levels for your Brewmaster and line are going to be slow. You have to build farm up on your Monkey King and your Ricky. You don't have something like Empower to get their damage up. So there's quite a fair bit that SMG will have to wait for. They're going to have to really try to apply that early pressure with the Brewmaster Beastmaster lane. So the two masters together, the master lane coming out there. And MG.Trust, it's very straightforward. They've got the off-lane DP with the push timings and the sustain. They've got the Ursa with the Oracle combo, as mentioned, potentially coming through either that or the Troll. Ursa's still really good with this kind of combination. You can keep him alive for a long time. He has really good shards as well. And Fearless on the Storm. Against a Ricky, I mean, Ricky has a lot of ways to kind of still find his last hits. Storm Spirit should still be able to get that early advantage up, clear out the wave a bit easier. Whereas for Ricky, it takes a little bit more effort to really be efficient in wave clear. So you're getting a little bit more there on MG.Trust for the matchups. It's very different. I'm going to answer your question right now, and what I think is better. I'm going to say MG.Trust. Wow. I think the shake-up from SMG is massively risky. If you don't get farm and EXP on that Pause 4 Brewmaster, and you don't get the levels up, and really, we have to see what KP's build-up is on the offlane Beastmaster, because offlane Beast, you still want Ags, but at the same time, you have to be a playmaker, so the Blink has to come through first. And if you don't go for early Ags, like, you miss out on a lot of early farm that can come in. So we'll have to see what KP opts for as well.
What about, though, if KP goes for the Helm of the Dominator instead and plays Beastmaster the same way? Because I'm not sure if they have room to be that greedy with the Aghanim Scepter this game. That's my issue, right? Because you look at the draft of SMG, and it's your classic SCA kind of pub draft, right? Where there's 4 cores and there's a 5th guy who's going to play position 6. But really, he might just, he might just go get an Aghanim Scepter line as well, just for the lols. And I don't know if you have space for the Aghanim Scepter Beastmaster this game. I think KP might need to be a bit more selfless, which he does tend to play like in the off lane. So I don't know if he actually will get the Ags.
Yeah, but it brings back a point that I remember the panel from Upper Div saying when we were casting with him. I think it was Lacoste or Lizard saying this. But if you pick these strong heroes in a patch and you don't play to their new strengths, it feels like you miss out. Like, nothing about Beastmaster improves in terms of push. In fact, it's worse without Necronomicon. So you can play that selfless Beastmaster focusing on objectives, but you will not have the same spikes as he once has. And you're not going to have the same spikes that he does have now, because of that shift. So we'll have to see. It is too greedy. I agree with you. That's why SMG's draft is going to be really hard to pull off here.
See, Earthspike is out. Bounty's still going to go the way of MTG on the top side, as KP now is going to cop a fair bit of harassment out from Q. And saw this yesterday in another tournament. Q just really likes to get as much of the battery assault out at level 1 as possible. Let's get quite a nice bit of damage out onto KP. And so the mid lane, this is the one I want to start with, John. Nia 666 against Fearless, the Ricky vs Storm. Does this in any way favor the Ricky?
Not really. I think it's not like an Invoker you're harassing out. You can still play with your Blink Strike and try to farm, but Fearless can gap close, get the Remnant off, control the lane, and apply some good harassment onto Nia. It gets worse once you hit level 3 on Fearless. So Nae's just going to have to watch his spacing, really work that blink strike, get his last hits going. You're already off to a fairly good start for Fearless, but there's some potential for the Riki. Like, if you get a good line rotation to stun out, and the silence could be potent if you level that up early.
That it could. I mean, for now, at least they're just going to farm up and try to take it easy. Like I say, that Nea now going to get quite a bit of harassment off, but Fearless will be just fine. Of course, top lane, you've got Jackie and Leona X up against KB and Mushi. Mushi decided to go to the off lane this time around with KP. I'll throw the Brewmaster down at the bottom. Leona, he's actually taking quite a bit of damage out from Mushi. He's gonna be able to salve up and be just fine. Still, KP, even with these balls that aren't quite as strong as they used to be, he is still applying a lot of pressure onto Jackie and just being a nuisance overall for now.
Yeah, it's a slower lane for MG.Trust to play with. Like, Ursa needs some levels, so does the Oracle, in order to get that harassment out. The Oracle as well, going for level 1 fortunes and mains. He can't quite burst down the boars. So you're always going to have this great laning presence out from KP. He's 9-1, Jackie's still 6-0, and as long as you manage to play with your boars and your axes here, you're going to feel really nice for KP. You're always going to find that farm, and Mushi's just doing a fantastic job of cutting off Leona from finding the support for Jackie. So it's a slower start for MTG up top. We'll have to see how that gets relieved. Of course, that does mean Mushi can maybe get a rotation out to mid down the line. Still the last lane down bot. Masaros is on that DP, and mid one is dropping low. Not low enough, but the DP is holding out pretty nicely here as well. Except mid one is still finding some really good farm. Afu on the pause 4, Brewmaster down bot is still getting some good zoning. This is bad for the Clockwork. Like, he wants to abuse the battery salt, as you mentioned, but Brewmaster is super tanky, and he can turn around with the Thunderclap, and once he has Drunken Brawler, it could be really nasty as well. So Q doesn't have the safest targets to actually jump in and harass. Like, you can't really commit towards a Monkey King because of Jingu, so Q's just in a very awkward spot where his laning presence doesn't feel amazing.
No, I mean, that's why Afu's holding that skill point as well, right? Like, you want to see if you need the Drunken Brawler, because Q is going to take more damage if he does going for the Battery Assault Cogs. We might see it now, but he's just trying to avoid the small camp being pulled away by Afu. He's still going to try, but he might be a bit too early, and yeah, Q's just going to be annoying overall, trying to really make sure he can't get the pull off. And that is another thing, though, that MTG have their way, that if the lane is pushed out the way of the Dire, Masaros is going to be able to harass mid one quite nicely with the soul, with the Spirit Siphons, and well, mid one can't really do much about it if he does get them off.
Yeah, but mid one can focus on farming really well. Like, there's not much harassment coming through. He is abusing that pseudo melee attack, and he's still up there in last hits, 21-9, having a way better time than Jackie is, and Masaros is having an even worse time as well. So the progression here for MTG is just not great.
Top lane is where the first blood happens. Leona X able to kill off Mushi, but the axes are going to fly through from KP, and they do secure the kill. Can go back on that point as well, John. KP has opted to, at least for now, go for the level 2 Call of the Wild. So not opting to max the axes yet. Might just go all the way with it.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to play the off lane. Like, you still need to be the playmaker. You're gonna need a blink for the blink roar. Maybe the Dominator, as you mentioned, could be pretty nice here as well. I think Vlad's might actually be better for KP to get that early momentum going with a Monkey King and Riki. We'll have to see. It's a really good start for the Beastmaster still. You did find that kill on MTG, but Jackie is just not farming the same way. And a slowly farmed Ursa means a slow Battle Fury, and slow Battle Fury means really slow progression in the jungle there for Jackie.
Oh, he might be punished now as well. Mushi going to come in for an Earth Spike. He went for the Earth Shock to try and kill off the boar, but it's going to be a lot of damage output from KP and Mushi. Leona X not quite at that level 4 mark yet either, so he doesn't have the Fate's Edict to really be able to heal him up on this Ursa. Does give him a Tango instead. It's like KP, he's going to interrupt that small camp pull and just take the creep wave for himself, while Mushi does go for a large camp pull. However, bot lane, Masaros, oh, Q. Nice little tree drop there with a Tango. Mid one. He got stunned for a bit, and that meant he could not chase down Masaros or Q. In the end, Afu does end up going down to the Brewmaster.
Yep, just really good positioning there from MTG. Not a kill you'd expect. Like, Brewmaster is super tanky and, really hard to zone out. But if you do find the angle, can work out. You did manage to go into the Cinder Brew here for Afu. So he doesn't have the Drunken Brawler to play with. And Q now, with a level up, can feel comfy with level 2 BA.
Mushi does drop KP. He will at least trade support. In fact, he'll force the TP away from Jackie. Jackie's going to go all the way back to the fountain. Then run his way back into the lane, so a waste of time here for Jackie. It might be one of those games for Motivate where you kind of rely much more on Fearless to try and set the tempo rather than the Ursa. We'll see how that works out as Mushi now's rotated into the mid lane with the Earth Spike out. They've caught Fearless. He is level 7 though, and Mushi does not have level 4. So he does not have the Hex up. Fearless will be able to get himself out.
Yeah, it's a bit optimistic to try to lock in a storm like that. Like, the TP in for Mushi as well. It's not like there's a bottle to refill, so they get some harassment out, forces Fearless back just a bit, but he does have his bottle up. He's going to be able to stack up now, build up that triangle stack, and try to just get a smooth ride going. It's been really good for Fearless, 47-5. They are not too far behind, though, at 41-7. So the Ricky's still having a pretty good ramp up. Very even across most of the lanes, very even kills, 2-3. Less than 1k lead going out for SMG. A big one to watch out for is KP. He roars.
He does roar in. Leona, he's going to try and run, but there's no chance in hell. He's at that level 4, but KP just way too good on heroes like this, the Beastmaster, and immediately just tries to abuse the roar. Meanwhile, bot lane, Afu does drop to Masaros. Mid one, still trying to fight. Does go back onto Q and Nia. He's going to rotate to secure the kill. In fact, he goes on to Masaros now, and that is a lot of damage with that Orb of Corrosion. He is really getting through the HP pool of Masaros. It's not going to be fast enough. Still, he'll Blink Strike back in, and now he gets it.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
And that is a really nice rotation out from Nia, 666. Finding a double kill straight off the bat, and again, I was wondering how much this mid Ricky was going to be able to get done, but well, for now, Nia's doing a great job.
Yep, he's finding farm, he's rotating out. In some ways, core Ricky is very similar to Ember, right? Like the timing into your boots upgrade and corrosion is massive. So Nia can actually get some good damage out. He just needs some additional control. Still, MTG, they're smoked up. Fearless is level 8 here.
Jackie pops the enrage, but they have backup. Mushi, no, it's going to be KP they want. With the Fortune's End to lock him down, it's not going to be too hard as they give the kill over to Jackie. That's an important kill to get, as you were already talking about it, but the Ursa was struggling quite a bit in terms of farm. Give him a bit of breathing room to try and catch up, but now Nia has also made a bit of a rotation up towards the top side of the map. But it looks like he's not going to feel too confident moving in on anyone. He's going to go back to the mid lane and perhaps just keep farming on. Back Fearless. Gonna get jumped here, but gets the Vortex off. Q is gonna show up, but there's no dust. They can't lock him down, and now KP is gonna get the roar off. Leona is around with the disarm on the Ricky to make sure Fearless can turn back around onto KP, but the Blink Strike back in. Fearless, he is so darn low. Can they get him with the tricks of the trade? No! Nia is not gonna be able to finish the job. He thought about another Blink Strike in. He'll go on to Q, but Leona again with the disarm is being a real nuisance already. And now Q goes in for a battery assault and the Conk's pushback, but Nia is going to punish him. They don't have the Fortune's End yet. Leona, he can't purge off the hills, and Nia's going to get another double kill. They got too greedy. You've got to wait till the Fortune's End is up. Otherwise, you're just healing the Ricky.
Yeah, that was optimistic to the turnaround. I think they would have already felt happy by having Fearless back off. They get a bit too fearless themselves, and it's a really good bounce back for Nia. He still finds a couple of kills. The Ricky builds up, #1 in net worth off of that. He is still having a really good time. I believe he's flying out one blade of Alacrity now. So the Ricky's going to hit a lot harder. You do want some EXP to start flowing here for your supports on SMG, especially this Brewmaster. Afu's basically a pause 5 brew. Mushi already has his 6 and Finger ready to go. So you have Finger Roar ready, but you need the split up on Afu to really follow up on the control and Fearless, isolate him out in these fights. And aside of MTG now, well, they've got level 6 on Masaros. They can start clumping around bot and use that Exorcism for a push.
And Nia's going to come in, try and stop this from happening. Leona is going to be targeted first, of course. No, they want Masaros on the DP, and they burst him down. Boy, that was quick. Masaros just completely disappearing. As Fearless now is going to rotate on the Storm. I don't really see much of an angle here for Fearless. I suppose he does have the Arcane Rune in the bottle, so maybe he just feels confident to go for a fight right here, right now. Masaros, he has respawned, but hasn't decided where he's going to TP yet, it seems, and it does eventually decide at the bot lane. As the top lane was being forced in by KB, and I suppose he thought he can't defend it anyway. It was way too late. They may as well just try to trade the bottom tier 1 instead.
There goes that exorcism. There is still a defense here, though. SMG are TPing in.
That they are. They want to fight. Nia, Fearless going to move in onto the Brewmaster Arfu. He cannot get the split off in time. They'll get him onto another. The Lion, Mushi in trouble, but a nice double stun. Not going to be enough with the Wukong's command. Still, Fearless is going to zip out. The buybacks are there, though. They really want this fight. Q is going to TP out. KP, he does not have the roar up. Instead, onto Masaros they go, but Masaros, he wants mid one. He's happy to give his life away for this. He will die, but for the greater good. As SMG will lose out very heavily in that team fight. I'd say the buybacks, it was only Arfu, but it's not going to feel very worthwhile at all.
No, I mean, you're already stalled out here on the Brewmaster. He does have the earn up. He needs a lot more to really have massive impact on that hero. So some of that factor of greed starts to come into question here for SMG. Losing out on mid one as well means that the Battle Fury timing stalls out even more. And you already have the Battle Fury on Jackie. So the Ursa is going to be flash farming a little bit better. You need to start taking control of the jungle here from the side of SMG. But look at the words of MG.Trust. They're just keeping the top lane safe and trying to give jungle space out for Jackie.
Strike in, Nia, gonna force the enrage. That's all he wanted. Just force the Ursa away from that farming position. State of this game right now, still a slight net worth lead for Team SMG. But Jackie, you look at his farm on that Ursa and he's caught up quite nicely. Already top of the net worth board, and you look back over to Fearless on that Storm, he's got the Orchid up now. So things are looking rather spicy for MTG and SMG. They've got to be very careful now. Is MTG going to start looking towards that mid-tier 1 tower? Never mind that, they found a target, KP. He's been caught out of the Beastmaster. And that'll be the Orchid reveal out from Fearless on a very nice pickoff. Masaros has got Exorcism in 15 seconds, so they could definitely go onto the mid-tier 1 very soon if they wish.
And they've got that pressure on hand. The side of SMG right now, again, they're sitting back, they're trying to farm up. They still need mid one to get his Battle Fury. They still need the full Alacrity to fly out in Neo, which it is. So the Ricky's damage output now gets a bit ridiculous. He just needs to focus the Oracle first. If you get Leona out, you don't have to worry about disarms and the False Promise. That's going to be the big one. Leo needs to watch his positioning there, but they are sort of clumping up here on the side of MTG. No smokes yet. So not quite popping that, but they are still working that map well. 10 to 10, less than 1k lead on MG.Trust. Jackie pulling ahead because of that early B Fury, but SMG smoked earlier.
They do, but they might just run into Leona here. They'll take the target. Nia is the only one to show, so they don't know they're smoked up yet. But MG.Trust, they are being rather careful. Masaros, he got scanned out, but he'll TP. Instead, SMG now showing in the mid lane for a bit. The mid one trying to bait for his team. It's a very juicy kind of bait, but his team is right behind him waiting. MG.Trust, they seem to know about this. They're not going to engage. They're going to let it go down, but Nia, he found another target with the Hawk out from KB. They'll have the vision, but the False Promise is going to save the life of the Clockwork. They got what they came for. They got that mid-tier 1 tower, and SMG should be happy enough to just back.
Yeah, I mean, they can go straight for the Roche pit. They've got a lot of control, a lot of damage flying through on the Roche. The side of MG.Trust, though, Fearless.
Fearless is zipping in. He found the Lion, but he's going to get roared up. Fearless did not realize the Roshan was going on. Oh boy, that is not good news. And now Q's been caught out. MTG a bit of panic here. SMG, they will take full advantage and found themselves another 2 kills before they go back into the Roshan pit.
That was just really unfortunate. I thought Fearless was trying to preemptively jump Roche, but the rest of his team was too far behind to follow up that kind of move. And now, they don't have anything to fight in that pit. It's going to be a nice, easy Roshan for SMG. The respawns are fairly short, but way too long. Maybe you can make a cheeky play with Q, TPing onto the outpost, but it doesn't feel worthwhile. And with the Aegis up, you're going to have protection for either Nea or mid 1. It should be Nea picking it, so Ricky's protected. He's going to be able to get that damage off. He's always going to have an opportunity to find the angle onto the Oracle. And MG.Trust, well, they're not lagging too far behind. They're still number 1 with Jackie and the hook.
Hook shot. Oh, they found a big one. Mid 1. That was a very confident farming position from mid 1. Mushi, he's going to get punished too. I'm not sure what the idea was there. Generally, it's the corner of the lane where you've got to be very careful, right? Like, that's about the boundary. If you get anywhere near that top tier 2 tower, you're inviting them to come in like that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't hold the outpost here in SMG. They don't have wards in the jungle. I don't know why you'd be that far forward. Like, they weren't even carrying the Aegis. I could understand if Neo was just wanting to farm aggressively with the Aegis. But it was mid 1, just a bit of an awkward movement out, and really good punishment from MG.Trust, though. They see the opening, they make it work, so they keep mid 1 down. The gap between mid 1 and Jackie grows to 1k. The blink's up on Jackie. He just needs a little bit more farm to come in. Neo is hunting them down, though.
That he is, Jackie. Gonna be able to back off.
Mushi has a blink.
And Nia has a diffusal blade. Jackie shows himself again. TP up in 2 seconds, but he knows he's gonna get out soon. Doesn't get himself out. Nia gonna spot him. Jackie's being greedy. He's gonna be punished for this one. Finger out. He'll go down. Meanwhile, top side, it looks like because mid 1 was showing. That's why he showed up at the bot lane. But mid 1, he might be dead again. The Crypt Swan connects and they have the damage. So both carries getting very greedy there on the side lanes, and they both get punished for it.
Yeah, it's awkward for both sides. Really even trade in the end because of that. Slightly better for MG.Trust as Fearless just grabs even more to build into on the Storm. Once you have the BKB up in the Storm, you're going to be very scary. There's no stuns to control you. You're going to have to commit Roar on KP, which means that there's more room there for Leona, more room for Jackie to just survive and try to get some control back in their way still.
Smoke out. Looks like they have got the Storm, but again, the false promise from Leona. It's going to save the day, and now they'll move in onto the line. They want to try and turn this team fight around. Mushi with the Glimmer Cape is not going to be able to survive. Jackie, he'll get the kill on the Ursa. Q, he wants a bit more. Nice start out. He ran right into Nia 666, but mid 1 is going to turn around now with a Boundless Strike. Fearless in trouble. Gets the Orchid off onto the Ricky, but he is still chasing Nia. Wants the kill, but still Jackie going to jump in after KP now. They'll get the Beastmaster. There goes your Aegis, and now the Exorcism has been popped mid 1. He needs to run. The best he can after is going to try and help, but it's not going to be enough. They've got the Monkey King again. Meanwhile, on the side, Nia has been silenced, but Fearless, he has no mana. He has to be very careful because Nia could turn right back around, but no, he's buying time. He's buying time for Jackie to make his way over and help him out with the kill. In fact, they found more now. Afu, he's going to try and run. He's gone. And Fearless kind of tells you the story of that team fight. It was all off the back of Leona getting the false promise out on the Storm and just keeping him alive throughout the whole team fight. Yeah, that was a very nice kind of Oracle play there from Leona.
Yeah, really smooth. Not just the false promises, but his Ghost Scepter as well. Saving him from the Ricky jump back in, gave them the control needed to follow up on a very low mana Storm. So you've got some issues from SMG. You need a Nullifier at some point here. You still see Nea queuing up that Sleeping Dart on the Ag Shard. Now that could be one way to take out the Oracle from the fight. You just need to still find that angle, still always target the Oracle first. Like, they just couldn't find the angle there. Leona positioning is looking a lot better as this game goes on. And Jackie is starting to be a massive issue. As soon as he blinks in, even without the BKB, he just has so much more damage than a Ricky and a Monkey right now. Like, you need the Ags up. on mid 1. He's saving up for it. 2 parts away, in fact, 1 part away with his gold. There is a smoke out here from MG.Trust though, and Fearless is in position for that zip.
And he is. And look at this, a smoke up. Leona, Jackie going to run right into the triangle. Mid one, he's going to be very careful. They know exactly where he's going. Jackie, he'll blink strike in. And there is your zip in. Raw has been committed, but you have the false promise there to purge it off. And Jackie will find mid one again. And he just read him like a book there, John. Just exactly where he was is where they went. SMG, can they punish anyone on MG.Trust? They're going to try. Masaros, he's smoked up with Q and Leona. Leona's still around, but no false promises up. Still Nia seemingly needs to back off as Mushi now is the one caught out, and he will die on the Lion. And this could be very bad news. SMG, we talked about their draft. We talked about the fact that it was a little bit greedier. And definitely harder to execute than, say, what MG.Trust has. And I don't think the draft is necessarily made to be played from behind.
No, 100% no. You want to be ahead. The Ricky needs to be ahead. The Monkey King needs to be ahead right now. They're at best even. Jackie's just pulling so far ahead though. Becomes a bit scary. Fearless, he has his BKB, so the smoke screen's not gonna help. If you roar Fearless and not Leona, Leona is still gonna get false promise in these fights. That's the big issue. They've got this BKB piercing stun on the roar, but they have the Oracle to purge it off. So KP is going to have a really hard time in isolating here. SMG though, smoke up. They know that false promise is down for a little bit longer. Roche is not quite up. They are going a bit blind. They don't have forward vision in the top jungle, only in the triangle here.
Mid lane, Jackie gonna show. This is bait. Jackie has his team on the right side. P1. She's gonna go down, it looks like. Jackie there to set up. SMG obviously well aware that the team is right there behind the Ursa and will not initiate. They'll wait for an opening. And that'll be it. MTG, they do not get punished. So it looks like they're ready to slowly start sieging the bottom tier 2 tower. On the brighter side for SMG, mid one does have the Ags up now. Smoke. Oh, he was spotted. They saw it. The Observer Ward was there. They zip right in onto Harfu. They get the kill. He'll buy back. Wukong's command. Raw is out. Q will be targeted. However, Mushi, he's in trouble. There's your finger around Q. He is gone. Jackie has the false promise. Masaros getting deleted in the Wukong's command. And now they turn around back onto the Oracle. Meanwhile, on the left side, Jackie has been controlled up. Mid one jumps in. And this should be a very nice team fight. MTG getting caught with their pants down. Will get punished. In SMG, considering how bad of a start it was to that team fight, it's kind of crazy how the only person to die was Afu.
Yeah, they overcommit on MG.Trust side. Like the moment they killed Afu, they were clumped up for a triple Earth Spike coming out from Mushi, and they kind of split the fight up. Like Fearless and Jackie were elsewhere, Masaros and Q were elsewhere, and they just got isolated. They couldn't use their spells in conjunction. Very good cleanup from SMG. They're going to get a nice free tier 2. And MG.Trust lose that lead. It's down to less than 1k now. So really good swing back for SMG. And MG.Trust kind of underestimating the counterfight potential from SMG. They need a Force Staff here. Like they've got some Ghost Scepters up. You still need a Force Staff to either take the Monkey King outside his Wukongs or get yourself out from the smoke.
Q, nice hook shot. That'll be a die back on Afu if he's left alone. And that he will be. Very nice there from Q to set up, and again, that'll be the Brewmaster gone for about 50 seconds now. Can Motivate do anything with this? Roshan is up.
Yeah, that should be the play. They can try to force it out. They don't have to worry about any Brewlings in the middle of the fight to be disruptive. Free Ag Shard, you can't allow SMG to get that. Like, we see Nea, he had the shard. He already has his shard, so that Sleeping Dart is in play. He can isolate Leona if he finds that position. Roche will melt to an Ursa. They've got to move fast about this.
See if the Sleeping Dart comes into play as they do throw it out.
There.
Fearless. He's going to get stunned up. How annoying is that going to be? It's a very short cooldown, by the way, John. Very short. Nice zip, though.
Yeah, this is so annoying.
Here they go. Silence
Oh,
out
the tree cut.
Jackie, he caught KP, they've caught him, KP's gone. No, in fact, Nia, he's the one to go down first. Mushi, he will drop KP, he's going to run out of there with the Glimmer Cape, but mid one has been left behind on the Monkey King, and he's dead.
Oh, mid one was trying to use his Wukongs. The zip broke the tree.
Oh,
He was
no.
stuck. They couldn't get the follow-up, and now Roche is going to go MTG's way. Aegis, Cheese, and Shard. Shard for Jackie. The battle of balance, Mike. Earthshock and Rage now up. So pick your poison. What's stronger? Sleeping Dart or Enrage on Earthshock? I have a feeling it's Earthshock.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really stupid question, John. Of course it's the Earthshock one. 1.5 seconds worth of an enrage buff on yourself, and it reduces the cooldown of Earthshock by 1 second. Because why not? Because 8 seconds was too long, Ice Frog, was it?
Yeah, way too long. Now you just have to hope for tier 3 items, nice little quickening charm, you know, to make things nice and spicy.
He's
we'll
gonna
see
get
if
it
they
too.
get lucky.
He'll get a spell. 'Cause it'll happen,
100%.
I guarantee it.
SMG now. I mean, they showed off the Sleeping Dart. I think what needs to happen is Nea Sleeping Darts Leona, and you clean up everyone else, or you Sleeping Dart the Storm somehow. Very hard because it's projectile still. They're coming in.
And mid one, Leona X. It's a nice target to start on. Meanwhile, Fearless has caught somebody else, however. Looks like in the mid lane, they do kill off Nia. A much bigger target, and now Jackie seeing that Nia going down. He does kill off KP. Q, he does die in the Wukong's command mid one. Does get something for their trouble, but it is not a good trade whatsoever. You've lost 2 cores across the map for 2 supports. MG.Trust, they should be able to get at least 1 tower out of this.
Yeah, if they want to. It looks like they're not fully committing for top. They want to keep working the map right now. And Jackie is blocking. You see Afu.
Oh, they spotted him out. Primal Split's going to be committed. They'll be able to get him out of there now. Nice little space creation there from Arthur, but that is going to mean his Primal Split is going to be down for a while. So perhaps if you motivate, you think to yourself, maybe you can abuse that timing while the split is down. You've got almost 2 minutes to go for it. In fact, they found a DD rune. Very nice.
Yeah, it's on demand there still.
Healers. Using no boots at the moment. Jump in, Nia. He's got Masaros, BKB, False Promise. It's going to be enough to save the day. It's like Jackie wants to just try and finish off the what looks like a Satanic before they get any more too involved. And what's mid one going for? He wants the basher up. He's not going for the immediate Daedalus rush that we've been seeing a lot of on these Monkey Kings.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, you do need some follow-up stunts to go through that BKB now. Some really good control on hand. They are still sort of clumped up. The Aegis is still running here for MTG. They've got about a full 2 minutes on it. So they still have a lot of opportunities to just take control of the map. Again, go for those towers. Jackie's starting to dig into that bot tier 2. SMG starting to focus on the top to try and force a trade or a response. There are still fortifies to play with. And both sides will kind of try to go for objectives for now and stall out the big team fight. You don't really want to force it with SMG. Like Aegis on Fearless just gives him a ton to play with. So even trades as SMG still wait out on new items as well. The Manta is not yet up for Nea. He's stalled out since the Yasha after the defusal. It's not been a smooth ride for the Ricky, lagging behind in farm now. So that greed again is a big factor here, and they're still gonna have to find a way to get that gold flowing. KP saving up for the Ags. Halfway there. Just needs to get some farm up. And that's the story of the game for SMG. They just need to keep farming and hit these item spikes and bounce back in that way.
Motivate, they've smoked up. Fearless looks like he's just trying to bait around for his team right now. SMG, they counter smoke. KP, not smoked, but he might be the bait. There's the pings flying out. Motivate, they want to go for this. The zip is in. KP, he has indeed been targeted. Now they can try and turn Wukong's command. Not out yet, but he does finally get it out mid one. They're going to run out of that circle, but they've got the Aegis on Fearless. A nice start. Still KP is being chased down by Masaros and might just drop to the Ghost. In fact, Fearless is going to zip right in and make sure they get the kill. Who else do they want? Nia, he's underneath the sentry ward right now. Fearless gets the vortex. Jackie gets the bashes. They get the kill. Fu trying to TP, but no Leona. He'll have something else to say about that. Fu, he will die. A double kill out for Jackie, and it's going to be a 3-0 trade. Motivate now with a 9k release. In fact, they got the Aegis, but it's not really a life.
No, it was about to expire anyway. Like, it would have expired by now. So really good Aegis use there from MG.Trust. It looked good for a bit from SMG, but it just falls flat once more, and they're just not getting the max value from this rookie. Again, itemization has stalled out. Farm is not flowing for the 2 cores, whereas for MG.Trust, you really are taking over with Jackie. Onto the high ground, no Wukongs for the defense, no Finger. Roar gonna be up soon, but Roar alone's not gonna be enough to stop that push.
John, let me ask you, what's better than a quickening charm on Ursa?
What's better?
Yes.
Spell person?
No, well that is for tier 4s, but he's got the Titan Slither right now, John. So why not just amplify the status resist instead? Until the tier 4 items where you get a spell prison. Why the hell not?
It's beautiful. They still get more ult. Ooh.
Nice BKB, Masteros. No, Raw's going to come out. They want to fight, but MTG might turn. They are a bit low in terms of HP and mana, but they still have the chance to go, and they are fearless. Right into the backlines on Mushi. The hook shot onto Arfu. Jackie, he caught KP on the Beastmaster, and it looks like KP's going to try and run. He might just make it out. Mid-1, he'll get the Wukong's command defensively out. Back in onto the Oracle Leona with the Ghost Scepter. Is going to be fine, and now Jackie's right back in onto Arfu. Never mind that. Let's go onto Nia. He'll try to blink strike the backlines, but no, the false promise, Leona X. The man just won't die. He keeps bringing them back in. Mid-1, he'll try onto the Ursa with the bashes out, but they've lost KB. Now Mid-1 needs to try and run away. Fearless, he is going to get brought down from the Yules. Is he going to be able to survive? Not quite. They'll get the Storm. Now Nia back in on the Clockwork Q. Should drop here as Mid-1, he'll keep moving forward, trying to find more. Nia now will find Q finally, but the hook shot is there. The Spirit Vessel, Nia.
Oh!
Is he gonna die? No, 3 HP. 3 HP the Ricky survives on. Back to Mid-1. He'll kill off Leona X, but Jackie's not done. He kills off Arfu. Mushi's around though. The Enrage is there. How do you kill off an Ursa if you can't stun him permanently? Well, maybe they can. Mid-1, he's gonna try, but the Lion Mushi about to die. There's no damage output. Jackie, the bashes Mid-1. The man fight. Jackie's gonna try, but no, the Sleeping Dance in. Nia will put him to sleep. What a great team fight that was. Very extended. It ends up being a 3-for-4 trade. They did get the melee barracks in the mid lane, but I'd say SMG should be okay with that, considering the golden XP change they got.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big win for SMG. MG.Trust kind of overstaying their welcome. I mean, look like they just came back for Monsters really after the war. You might have been better off just letting Monsters die, but it is what it is. Gives SMG some breathing room. They're going to be able to get some more farm up. The Manta's finally done on Nea, so he has a way of purging off some of that dust, some of the silences coming through. And that's going to put a dent in MG.Trust's control here, as they're going to be able to at least get out of that root and silence. Have to be a bit cautious about that. There is the Abyssal now done here on Mid-1 as well. So he's got his own way of stunning out. And I think for the side of MG.Trust, they might just maybe wait out the next rush. It's only half a minute away. You do have good control here from SMG clumping up in that jungle, and they are smoked up again.
They make this one work. Q gonna break the smoke in the tree line. Mid-1, Primal springing through, does find Fearless, but oh, what a dodge of the Boundless Strike, and now the silence is there. Still, False Promise out onto Q. Hook shot onto Nia. Q might just sacrifice himself to let his team get out, and it looks like that might just be the plan. Mid-1 is still trying to find another target, and it looks like he has found Leona and will eventually find the Oracle to take him out. Nice double kill there for SMG. As long as Jackie's down, they know they can get it done. This game is slowly but surely evening back out, at least in terms of net worth.
Yeah, they're really finding the openings on SMG. MTG just sticking their heads out for a bit and gets chopped down. Have to really still remember that SMG's got a lot of good control. The supports by themselves do not have that damage output. Now you have to deal with the Beastmaster Ags. KP finally has it up. So this is where it can be ridiculous. If KP's allowed to live, his damage output's going to be a bit too much to handle. You don't have the best sustaining supports here from the side of MG.Trust. I mean, you have the Oracle, but you don't have anything like a Guardian Greaves up, a mech up, nothing to help you burst regen back up outside of the Oracle spells. So it can be a bit dicey. Leona X, again, has to work himself perfectly in these engagements. And the Roche is up, so SMG go right in. That has a free Ags blessing as well. Don't want to give this one away if you're MG.Trust.
They do not. They're making their way over, but Arfu is around blocking the way. They can hook shot in to try and steal, but instead, goes down to Arfu. The Aeon Disc will save still. Mid one going to jump in with the Wukong's. Hook shot was not there in time from Q. They need to run right now. That Wukong's command is going to do way too much damage. They are going to lose Masaros. You've got hook shot down, so you could try to rush the Roshan, but he does have an axe. So he can refresh and try to steal. And Q, he might give it a shot. Roshan is getting quite low. He does need to refresh, and it's too late. He's going to miss out. SMG, they got what they came for. They'll be able to relax now, knowing they have the Aegis. They have the Ags upgrade on Nia. Where's the cheese at, John? Mid one's got it.
Yeah, it's scary now. Nia with a free Ags. Doesn't even need to spend 4,200, although.
Q right in, but the ball blocked it. KP gonna be silenced up, but a boundless strike to lock them both in. Now the Hex up, Fearless. He's gonna drop a Jackie. He's in. He's gonna try and fight onto mid one. Can he get through the HP pool of the Monkey King? It looks like he just may, as the Abyssal Blade was there, but mid one is still trying. The false promise is gonna fly out. Leona trying to heal him up, but here comes Nia into the back lines. Leona trying to survive. They will get Leona down. Q will drop. Jackie will go through the false promise, and it is not looking good now. For MG.Trust, it looks like SMG might be able to take this to the high ground.
I mean, MG.Trust forced the fight into Aegis Cheese. They don't respect the Ags on Ricky, and they just got ripped to shreds. I'm not sure why they really forced the issue there, as SMG just manages to clean up. They do have buyback on Jackie. They've bought buybacks on their supports as well. The gem is going to be picked up by Mushi's Courier, so you're not even going to be able to snipe that away. And SMG, they can push real fast. KP just clears out these waves like it's butter. And the side of MG.Trust, they're going to have to pull something amazing in the high ground. They don't necessarily have the best AoE control to stop it. And mid one still has the Wukongs to play with here.
That he does. Level 27 on that Monkey King. Mid one, very confident. Oh, Fearless, he's got the Vortex off, but it's not going to be enough damage output. There's your Daedalus out now on the Monkey King as well, so the damage has gone up substantially in that Wukong's command. Even with the Aghanim Scepter statues, you've got to be very careful. Got to be one racks down. Onto the top lane they go. Jackie's up in 20. He does not want to commit the buyback yet. He wants to hold out. We saw this last game, don't forget, John. They did make a comeback from 2 racks down. So SMG understand how careful they have to be around this team. As mid one, gonna get zipped on, Fearless. Oh, he got bashed up, the Abyssal Blade there through the BKB. The Aegis still not down, but they finally get it. Q is in danger. Vingar, the heal's out. Leona will save the day now. The Abyssal out from Jackie onto mid one. Mid one, he's dropping low. The bash is there.
No.
They take him out. He's got no buyback again. Nia now, he goes down. He'll have buyback on the Ricky though. Mushi, oh, zipped on perfectly, but they can't cancel the TP. Instead, towards the right side, they found Arfu on the Brewmaster. They might be able to get him instead. And here we go again, John. A very similar scenario to last game. On the brighter side, this time Arfu and Nia do have buybacks on.
Yeah, they're not going to be completely screwed out here. They're going to have themselves up and running for the defense. There is notable damage. Does get denied after KT. Very nice move there. And side of MG.Trust now, they're going to have to, well, maximize this moment. No Monkey King is big. They are in a very risky spot still. You don't want to be caught out with no buyback on your side. Jackie is about 600 gold off. So Jackie has to be a bit careful, but they need to really clear out the racks and even out the map control.
That they do, and they're going to try now. KB, he'll be around with the axes to really just be a real nuisance here on the Beastmaster, and quite nice to have the axe up to be able to defend this high ground if you're KP. Of course, he does have to be a little bit cautious because Fearless could zip in at any moment, and they do. They've got the Beastmaster. KP's gone. He has buyback. But with that death, Arfu, he brought back to try and save the Beastmaster. MTG, he'll need it back now. Mid 1 is up in 5 seconds. SMG, there was a lot of damage done on that tier 3, but they're happily going to hold.
Yeah, and they've got some really good items flying through. You've got a BKB up on Nea, and that should mean that it's harder to pin down this Riki. Full duration here as well. So if you were trying to rip through the back lines and try to focus down to squish your cores, the Riki's going to be a lot harder to handle. SMG, though, do sacrifice the buyback on Nea for that, but it looks like it's just time for SMG to go back to farming up, build up, try to save for some of that buyback. They do find a Spell Prism on MG.Trust, by the way, so there it is. And it is on Masaros for now, though.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie's going to take the ninja gear instead. Fair enough. I mean, that's kind of nice, though, because you can sneak in from the backside and get rid of that Lion and fill in the Brewmaster. I did guarantee, though, that Spell Prism would come out. Like my credit, thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Gonna avoid the Sleeping Dart. Mid 1. Not gonna be able to hold him down. It's very hard with the Aghanim Shard on Jackie to really lock him down long enough. He never really has to commit the full enrage. You can just Earth Shock and you just can't do anything.
Yeah, it's enough to stall out for Jackie to, live through some of that initial damage and control. He is saving up now for that Swift Blink, so he's gonna get some more agi to play with, more right-click damage, more attack speed. Really nice utility when you blink in as well. The Satanic's the big spike that I think Jackie absolutely needs. He needs a way to heal himself outside of the Oracle, because he lives long enough that he can turn around, and he just needs some lifesteal. So, do smoke up on MTG. Gonna try to make something happen. Roche still a long way off, but maybe if they get a pick off here, they can start to go back into the high ground.
Both teams are being very cautious. SMG, they'll just try to push out the top lane and force the rotation back, as mid 1 now is going to hide as a tree on top of a tree. He's preparing himself for the initiation. MTG still smoked up. Q going to have his smoke broken. Sees Arfu. He's going to go for the hook shot in. Nobody initiating yet. They're waiting for both teams to show themselves. So Arfu, he can Primal Split and Fearless. He's got the AoE Vortex now. Catching the backside onto Mushi, but the Ghost Scepter gonna save the day as mid 1. He popped the Wukong's command. It is gonna wear off for Jackie. He does kill off Mushi. Onto mid 1 now. Mid 1 trying to fight with Nia. They might have the Ursa, but the Vortex is in again. Fearless just gonna drag them right back into the False Promise. Keeping the Ursa alive, but for how long? Because mid 1, he's gotten so much damage out. They are gonna kill him before the Ursa goes down. Onto Nia now. Q, he'll lock him down with the double hook shot out. And Leona, he found Arfu. Mushi, he does not want to die like this. The Shivers Guard barely not going to reach Arfu. Pop the Drunken Brawler. Just try to run while Masaros will continue the chase down with the Yule Scepter out. And the Fortune's End. Mid 1 has buyback if he wants to commit it, and so does KP. But Arfu, are they actually going to time T-Force? Yeah, they are. Hookshot, and again, now the buybacks come out, but they've already gotten the kill. Mid 1's going to try and punish now with the double Boundless Strike and the Roar to fly out onto Masaros. And they may have gone way too far. Q, he has no hookshot to relieve himself of this scenario, and he's also going to die. So they force the buybacks out of mid 1 and KB, but it does cost 2 lives of their own.
I think you're happy. Like, MTG still holding on to buybacks on those 2 heroes that died. They can just come back in, take the diebacks first, and then go back out. This is a really risky spot for SMG. Their options are limited. Roche is still 2 minutes away, so they can't even play for that objective.
Oh, Jackie.
And you have to be careful.
Okay, B.
Oh, boy.
He just bought back. Oh, Fearless,
no.
He's got him.
Oh.
That's 2 minutes without the Beastmaster now. MTG might have their opening. Roshan's not going to be up for another minute 40, so they're not going to be able to go back to that. What do you do here? Do you just farm up and maybe get the Swift Blink up on Jack?
You could. I mean, you have nothing else to play for. You have to wait for the respawn on your 2 heroes. Unless someone missteps. Like, say, if they spot mid 1, chop the right tree, that could be one way to do it.
Oh, Fearless, he's found him. He tries to get the tree chop. He doesn't quite get there. He does force BKB. Jackie, he's in with the bash out, and now the Abyssal Blade. They've got the Monkey King mid one. He's gonna eat the cheese with the Fury Swipe. It's so much damage. They get him down onto Nia now. Nia's gonna try and fight back with the Sleeping Tart, turning onto the Storm, but the false promise from Leona is gonna save the day. Oh, mid one's down for 2 minutes to boot. There's gonna be no big push out from MTG quite yet. They have creeps in their base. This is gonna give them plenty of more time to just keep farming up. Jackie, he has a choice now. Satanic or Swiftling. Both of them are quite affordable for him very soon. It seems like he is dead set on the Swiftling, but yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, John.
Like lifesteal. You see how long Jackie lives. If he just has lifesteal, he is literally unkillable. Like, they throw everything out on him. Because of Enrage, it lasts so much shorter. And he just needs a couple of hits. He's back to full HP. So I think Satanic is the smart play, but he is buying out the Swiftling. So I think he wants to be more slot efficient. He's going to have to take something out if he wants to. And Fearless
gets Fearless. I did not spot that one out. My apologies. Nia setting up a nice kill for the team, and with Fearless gone, you can't really push in.
It's risky. They could go for the Roche. Jackie's in. But that's Refresh and Ag's Blessing along with Cheese and Aegis. This is where it gets really dicey. SMG has to run up to contest this, but again, against an Ursa, Roche does not last long.
No, it does not. Aegis taken. Aghanim Scepter. Looks like he might just take it for himself. Fair enough.
Dire's courier has been killed.
I love the fact that everything to do with Ursa in regards to Aghanim is about Enrage. It's like how the cooldown's 18 seconds now, and you can just pop it whenever you feel like it. How nice is that?
It's beautiful. It's lovely. You have that. You have the Earthshock, still doing ridiculous stuff with, and you've got your BKB. It's wild for Jackie right now. Very hard to pin down. SMG, for their part right now, Mike, they've ridden through that moment where buybacks were down. They have 4 minutes to wait, though, for those buybacks to refresh on most of their heroes. Afu only has a minute to wait for his buyback, but you kind of have to work to that point for SMG. MG.Trust with the Aegis Cheese, they feel a lot safer. They could make big fight, and Fearless asking for, okay, Crash. All right, I thought he meant they should just clash now. That's like, all right, that's like such a C-pub thing to say, just clashes 4. But yeah, no, it's like a crash. All right.
Fearless isn't even alive right now, John. I'm not sure why he'd be asking for a clash.
Yeah, because he could micro Jackie. See, he could play the Ursa. That's what he wants.
Very true. Wants to know what it feels like to be all farmed up and fuzzy like a bear. Jackie, do you go for the Satanic now? I mean, obviously after the Aegis does expire, surely it's either Divine Rapier or just a straight Satanic here for the Ursa. Yeah,
I'd say no damage issues. Satanic should still be the play. Jackie keeps it queued up. And I do like that. Like, again, just some lifesteal on hand is going to make the difference. SMG, they're positioned aggressively. They could be caught out here.
Fair. Gonna smoke up on the Brewmaster now. Nice little arcane rune being found out now by Nia. The Spell Prism, 6.9 seconds on the cooldown for the Sleeping Dart. Very nice. The trade is at a 4.6 second cooldown. Very good.
Balanced. Very balanced with that Spell Prism here on Nia. So, he's the one wanting to play with that. We're not seeing that out from Jackie. Of course, he's playing smarter with move speed on Ninja here. Very speedy, and he does manage to take away the boot. So, you know, he's slightly slower. He's going to have to always play with a Swiftling to get himself in the right spot, at least while the Aegis is up. But the side of SMG, again, they're just keeping all the waves shoved in. They've got Beastmaster, they've got a Monkey King. They can jump around, keep the waves in, and prevent MG.Trust from getting too far out from their base. They get the Ags up on Afu. That is massive. He's got the charges on Primal Split, so it's harder to kill off that Brewmaster if you don't get the control initially, and that does mean you might get controlled up if you're not careful there from all of the stuns and the ults, so the cyclones coming through from the Brewlings. Can be a bit dicey as SMG are getting a bit of a second power spike with the finalization now.
Certainly can be, John. Bottom tier 2 going to drop, and now even the nullifier out from Nia. Slowly going to help out the heroes of MG.Trust. Especially why you've got that damn Oracle around. He's been having a very rough time with Leona X this game. Still, high ground is the objective for SMG. They do not have a Roshan to go to, so they might just wait it out and farm up a bit more. Of course, Motivate has a 7k net worth advantage. So it could be dangerous, but Jackie gonna run in. Smoke does end up breaking. He won't turn around fast enough. Arfu could initiate and does the side too, but the Enrage was there. Of course, with the Aghanim Scepter, there's no real risk in just throwing out the Enrage like that because the cooldown's so low. You're always gonna have it.
Yeah, there are no worries, and they do smoke up here. MG.Trust did clear out the Hawks. They could find an angle.
Oh, mid one, he got quite caught out.
Mid-one!
They got the tree, the Vortex is down. Mid one's dead without buyback again. The Rocket Flare giving the vision out from Q. Now KP's going to be chased. Masaros, he will cancel off the TP. That'll be KP gone. Mid lane, Q trying to fight up against Arfu. He will primal split, but he's stuck in the cogs with nowhere to go. Fearless even just leaves him. He just lets the supports take care of it. Arfu. Fortune's End gonna land on the Storm Panda. There's the real one, Jackie, a big scary bear chasing him down, and that is Arfu gone. Another primal split, just in the nick of time. And he even goes back for the bounty. He'll deny it off. Q gonna get stunned up, but that'll be it. Arfu barely gets his way out. MG.Trust though, they have 3 heroes down without buyback, John. And I can almost assure you that they're going high ground again.
Yeah, they refreshed on Masaros, exorcism back up. They're going to line up for that shove. And probably just going to rush tier 4s. Maybe the bots had racks, but I think they want to go for the juggler. So
No,
we'll see if the punishment's out. I mean, it's still 30 seconds until these big heroes are back. They're just so strong inside of MG.Trust.
Yeah, I mean, look how many Ghost Masaros has out right now. That Glyph gonna wear out, and Jackie's in. He's found Arfu, and Arfu is eventually gonna die. Fearless, he does get him. Jackie the one to pick up the kill. Don't tell me they get another comeback like this. 2 racks is down. MG.Trust really want to win in fashion, it seems, as the hook shot is in onto Mushi. They've got the Lion. Mid one's back up. He can jump in and fight, but the hook shot is there. Jackie gonna man fight the Wukong's command. Mid one trying his best, but Jackie, he is not afraid with the false promise and the Aegis, and now Fearless comes back in. They've got the Vortex.
God.
That's it. GG has to be called. They can't defend, surely. They're gonna try, but Jackie is still alive. The Aegis wears off, and there's the GG call. MTG. How do they keep doing it, John? Over and over again. 2 racks is down, and it's like a fire just gets lit underneath their asses, and suddenly they could just play better.
Yeah, that's a wild back and forth again. MG.Trust looks like they were dropping early. There was a bit of a spike from SMG. They were coming back up, and it was looking good. And then they start to drop a couple of fights, but then SMG bounces back, takes the high ground. And it's just insane. Just absolutely insane from both sides. Very well played from both sides. We expected it to be even. It is a 2-0 for MG.Trust, but it's a very close 2-0. Not very clean. It's on the edge. SMG putting out an amazing set of fights. And MG.Trust had to really, really work at it. Very, very clean execution coming out, but that's what they had to do to take that win.
That is exactly right, John. A pretty hyped series, and a lot of people were tuning in because they really wanted to see how this one was going to pan out between SMG and Motivate. And as you can see, these 2 teams are quite close when it comes to skill. Maybe as time goes on, that'll change, but for now, SMG, you've got to give them props, John. They put up a really darn good fight. And both games, Motivate looked like they were going to lose, so might be a bit of a tough night for the Team SMG guys. Obviously, losing like that, but what do? It happens. MG.Trust, they make it work. And with that, John, I believe we are going to have a winner's interview, but we'll wait it out a bit and see who is going to show up.
Yeah.
While we are waiting, though, John, if you do
Yeah.
enjoy these teams, Team SMG at least is on Twitter, and I recommend you go give them a follow and support them if you are a fan. I believe the handle is Team SMG Official. So maybe go give them a follow. Obviously, it looks like they've got a bright future ahead just based off this series. And, you know, does MG.Trust have one yet?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be, let me see. It is motivate_trust. That should be their Twitter. They're not too active on Twitter. I think it would be best for you to follow them on Facebook. Should just pop out in the first search. So best way to follow them is through that platform. But yeah, it's they both teams have been looking fantastic, and it has been a good time here in the lower div. Like, this is one hype matchup. There is still another really hype matchup coming up next in the upper div.
Yes,
the Merienda Rambulan, my friends.
Merienda.
It's gonna be lit.
Merienda Rambulan is going to be upon us
Yes,
very, very soon. I've been, again, just practicing my pronunciation, John, which is why I can't speak English anymore. Trying to learn Filipino this whole time.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Who have we
we've
got?
got our interview here, Mike. It's Leona.
Oh, we've
Hello.
got Leona Lex. Leona, how you doing, sir?
Very tired. The game's very hard. They're very strong.
They are very strong indeed, but I've got to give it to you guys. That was a hell of a performance and a hell of an entertaining game. Did you guys... I'll start off by asking, did you guys believe you were going to make the comeback in Game 1 and Game 2? Or were you guys kind of like, this is looking pretty bad?
Things looking pretty bad, but we are always looking for a chance to come back the game.
Yeah,
So I guess
absolutely.
you could say that we still believe that we can win all the time.
All right. That's
Good to
great to
hear.
hear. Now, I've got a question for you, Lona. I'm curious, right? Like, I know it's something with the drafts. You guys just left the Beastmaster, at least in Game 1, you banned it in the second phase. A lot of teams, it's a first phase priority. Can you give some insights as to, why do you guys kind of leave that, at least in this series? You guys left it open.
Because of their match history, we realized that they are not relying too much on Beastmaster.
Okay. All right. So it's
enough.
just down to the research then. Fair enough. Now, I've got to ask as well, like, I know MG.Trust right now, you guys are playing a lot more games, right? Like, you're playing the Oceanic League. When we
Yes.
get to see you guys there as well, you're playing here. I think you guys were also playing in a Thai tournament, if I wasn't mistaken, from the Facebook. So you guys are playing a lot more actively. Do you think that's beneficial for you? Do you enjoy playing more games, or would you prefer, having more breathing room, having more time for scrims? What's more beneficial for you guys as a team?
Actually, I prefer to have a bit more breathing room. The
Okay.
schedule is a bit tight right now.
Yeah, definitely is for you guys. Like, I think 3 tournaments is pretty tight. Very,
Yes.
very tight. Yeah.
Very tiring.
Definitely is. One last question from me here. You guys are looking great. I think this makes you guys #1 in groups, maybe slightly behind South Built Esports. Is there any team you guys are still looking forward to here in the lower div? Any team that you want to play against or are scared of playing against overall?
I think there are not left. We are ready to face any team.
All right. Yeah,
Very
that
good.
confidence is great.
Very good indeed.
Yes.
Leona, I know you're tired, so I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'll let you go and have your rest, sir. This
Okay,
might be
go
a
on.
little bit embarrassing to ask, but I've been wondering for a while, are we pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Leona X?
It's Leonac.
Leona? Like a C at the end?
Yes, FPC at the end.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go. See, I
All right.
knew I should have asked him, John. I felt kind of bad because I felt
We're
like there was
sorry,
something to
Leona.
it. We apologize.
It's fine.
We're sorry, friend.
I promise we'll pronounce it properly from now on. But for everyone out there as well, there you go. That's how you pronounce his name. Apart from that, congratulations. Fantastic victory. And again, I wish you guys the best of luck in your future games.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night, sir.
Okay, see ya.
See ya. That was Leonac, as we know it now, John. I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I might have to just practice a little bit in my free time. Great performance, 2 comebacks. You love to see it. Obviously, the team being back together, looking very strong. Again, I've got to give shout-outs to SMG though. They looked very good. There's been constant improvement over the last couple of weeks, and obviously they've got some amazing players in their team. It's just all about gelling together, coordinating, and I don't think there's anything to feel bad about if you're SMG. I think you take the loss, you come back next time, you come back stronger, and you give it back to MG.Trust later on. But again, after a series like this, again, I don't think there's much to be embarrassed about. Maybe you do a bit of a replay analysis, see what went wrong, but you should be pretty okay with your performance, I think.
Yeah, I think overall they played really well. Maybe one or two small mistakes here, like itemization in game one, perhaps. Some late game decision making, I think it's where it hammered in. Like they just made very tiny misplays, like very tiny mispositioning plays, and Team MG.Trust was just the kind of team to punish. So it was very on the edge. I think SMG should feel great, but that is it for now in the lower div. Again, we've got the Merienda Rambulan, Mag. I want to hear you say it. It's so nice when you say it. Feels very
Merienda
Filipino.
Rambulan? Is that how you said?
Yes.
You just like it
exactly.
because I keep rolling the R's, right?
Yes,
I
it's
always
beautiful.
get that little roll in. Makes me feel
Oh, yes.
good. So yes, Merienda Rambulan is coming up. TNC Predator versing OB Neon. Should be a very exciting matchup in the upper division. And of course, that's not the only one today, John. You've also got Lil Gun up against T1 straight after that. So a pretty hyped night of SCA Dota. Personally, I'm very excited to see how that first matchup does pan out. Again, TNC, if you were watching, Morph Beastmaster, we'd love to see it. Please make it happen. And Neon, if you see it, please just give your Paj Rubik and let's just make it a hell of a game. Apart from that, John, do you have any final words before we head off?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Everyone watching on Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook, thank you for all your
And Steam
support.
TV. Don't
and
forget the Steam TV, guys.
Yeah, we're not forgetting you guys watching from the Steam TV broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Neon Riot for giving out a sub today, and hopefully the Twitch issues get fixed up. We're still waiting for a response from Twitch. But again, if you have troubles with Twitch, check out the YouTube or Facebook streams. But that is it for the lower div for now.
Yeah, I mean, I might just keep the stream on because I believe PGL should be going live very soon. The game is scheduled to start in about 30 minutes between TNC and Neon. So the stream will stay live, and what I'll do is, as soon as PGL goes live on their main channel, I'll just host them straight away, so you guys can just tune in that way. Otherwise, if you just wanted to go to their channel right now, I believe it is still offline, but it should be PGL_Dota 2 if I'm not correct, not incorrect. I will just double check right now, but yeah, PGL_Dota 2. They're on YouTube as well. But like I said, we'll host them on this channel if you guys feel like just being lazy, because I feel we're lazy all the time, John. It's fair enough. I understand you. Don't you worry. Apart from that, have a fantastic night, and we'll see you in the main chat. See you then.
ครับ